Right. What's up and welcome to that's the wrong camera. Huh. This one and I gotta unhide yeah. Okay, let's go back to this one. um what's up and welcome to my live benchmarking of the Legion 7. I'm excited about this one because this is a very nice laptop, very premium feeling laptop to me. Great chassis, great keyboard, backlight. We got the latest Ryzen 7 5800H in it, and we got an RTX 3060 very high TDP. So we're going to see how well this can perform in actual games today. It did okay. It did really good for an RTX 3060 in Timespy, but at the $1,700 price point that this is supposed to be at, it's a bit of a high price for that Timespy score, in my opinion. So we'll actually have to see how it does in actual games and see maybe if it's more worth it or less worth it after we get done testing. So let me make sure that we're good. We're waiting for everyone to hop into the stream, and I got to set this to public as well. And then we'll be getting going. So we're just going to be waiting a few minutes. If you guys uh, just need to wait a couple minutes for everyone to hop in the stream. And while we're doing that, I'll go over the software that this thing comes with. No USB A's on the left or right side is really annoying to me. We have 3 of them on the back, but none on the left and right, which I always need something to plug my mouse into. So I'm like, no easy, quick access, which is pretty annoying. Okay, so let's take a look at the software here. So this is Lenovo's software, and you can adjust a number of things. You can turn the thermal mode on. You have 3 settings: quiet mode, balance mode, and performance mode. We are in performance mode, and this should ramp the fans and allow the highest TDP on the machine. And then for our power settings, we're going to be in Legion performance mode here. And as far as I can tell, that is the highest performance mode that we can be in. And then we have hybrid mode here. This is our MUX switch right here. It will allow you to restart the machine and be able to have better battery life. Now, we have that disabled. We're on discrete mode only, so we're going to get the most possible performance out of the machine as a result. And then we've done all of our system updates. Windows is up to date. Our system update in the Lenovo software says we're all up to date. We have the latest NVIDIA drivers already pre-installed. We've removed the bloatware. This came with an antivirus, so we removed that already. And if you want to know the order of the benchmarks for today, you can see the benchmark list on the left side. We're going to go down that in order today, so we're going to be able to follow it exactly. What's up, Franco? Welcome to the stream. You're the first one, so congratulations. You get first, at least for the chat. Okay, so overall, I do like the software. It's functional in the sense that everything's pretty much located in a central spot. Like some of the software for different manufacturers are difficult to understand where everything is. This one's pretty much very centrally located, and I like that a lot. And so far, it's worked fairly well for me. The only downside I can see so far is that there's no easy way to like set maximum fans, which to me is really sad, right? I think that it's. I wish you could set maximum fans easily. Um, Sweet. What's up, Param? Hey, Arthur. Hey, Creator. RTX 3060. This one is supposed to be $16.99 on the price. So what's up, all you sweaty laptop nerds? That's right. Welcome, welcome, welcome. So we're going to go ahead and get into the first benchmarks, and we're going to follow the benchmarks in order today, which will also help people find the benchmarks maybe they're looking for. So on the left side there, you can see the list of benchmarks that we'll be doing. I believe Timespy is the first one. Then we're going to do Port Royale, FireStrike, and Cinebench, and then we'll get into some games. Okay, so here we go. Get Timespy opening. We should have everything installed, except maybe there might be a couple of benchmarks that are missing, but most of the things should be fully installed and ready to go. I'm going to exit all the applications that we don't need open for these tests, except for Afterburner and HW Info, which I keep open for all of my tests, so it's easy to compare performance across laptops, and we can also see the internal what's going on with the laptop. So if it's thermal throttling or anything like that, it's easy to find that out. And we're going to get these installed real quick too. These don't take but a few seconds to install. While everyone's getting in. Let's go, sweaty fam. What's up, hero? That's the name of my dog too. So he probably perked up. Right, he's in the blanket behind me right now. Yeah, so I'm really excited about this, mainly because we get to see what the actual performance is in the games. Because Timespy doesn't tell us everything, gives us a general idea, and the actual gameplay performance is where we kind of find out is the RAM good, what's the RAM timings like, can we get great performance with that, and especially in like Shadow of the Tomb Raider, Far Cry 5, and then we get to see exactly how well the 3060 at a really high TDP stacks up to like a 3070 at a high TDP, in games like Red Dead Redemption. And now for today's benchmarks, I'm going to be doing QHD. This is a 16 by 10 panel. So we're going to be doing QHD for the vast majority of them. But I will also test like 4 or 5 of them in 1080p so we can check out some comparison graphs with some other laptops. And then at the end of this live stream, I'm going to do kind of a conclusion and overall thoughts on the performance of the laptop. And so there will be that kind of at the very end, like the last 5 or 10 minutes. We'll just kind of talk about the performance and my thoughts on it overall. I thought the 3060 was not available for the Legion 7. Well, this is not out yet in the United States. It's supposed to come out near the end of June. So hopefully we don't have any issues. Afterburner should be running. Got HW info open. Just double checking. I think we're good to get going here. Do you think the 300-watt power brick is necessary for the 3060 model? No, not at all. Probably only need 240 watts, I bet. They'd probably power the whole system. 260 or 280 is probably overkill too, but okay, so taking a look at the overview here, you can see we're hitting 125 watts. We're at 1950. I think, are we still overclocked? I think, did we do an overclock at the end of the live stream? So this might be an overclocked run. We need to check the overclocks because I think it should be hitting 1850 or so, not 1950. I think we're at plus 100 megahertz. How to check the wattage of a GPU before buying? You can check my spreadsheet linked in the description down below. I have the wattage on almost all the laptops in there, though there's a couple of them that I don't. It's not clear yet. It's just I think about 70 or 80% of them have the wattage in there, and they have the links to sources on where I found the wattage. But it really, the true wattage of a laptop is like what's the watts it runs when it's actually like actively running a game. Because in Timespy, getting 125 watts, but in the actual dual loaded games, do we oftentimes see 125 watts, or does it go down to like 115 or 100? That's the true TDP. Though that'll obviously vary from game to game because some games don't hardly use any CPU and you can just get that full 125 watts. So, any idea on the price? It's supposed to be $16.99 in the United States for this laptop. At around a rumored $1,500, don't you think that's a little too much for a 3060? So for a tricked out premium RTX 3060 laptop, $1,500 is, I think, a really good price. This laptop, I think, takes the premium factor to the next level in some ways because you get just like a really, really good screen. Like this screen on this thing is like over 400 nits, and it's 16 by 10 display with very good screen to body ratio. You get a webcam still, despite that, because most laptops that have this good a screen to body ratio skip the webcam in order to fit it in there. And then you've got this really durable metal build, which I really, really like. And then the lighting on this machine is as good, I think, as the Scar series, which is the premium series from Asus. So you're kind of getting like a blend of everything. So $1,700, I think, is a fair price for this. If they knocked it down to $1,500, that would be an excellent price, I think. Going above that, like yeah, I don't know. I think to me, I think a fair price for this for an RTX 3070 version would probably be 1900 to 2000. Maybe maybe 2100 at most would be the price point I'd maybe be able to recommend it still. But it's going to depend also on the performance of the 3070, but it should be really good still. Okay, so just taking a look here, our CPU temperatures, well, this is the CPU test, so our CPU temperature is kind of spiking up. We're at 80 degrees Celsius. Keep in mind, I can't run max fan on this machine, though I'm sure you could probably download a third-party application, just get the fans to go max. I'm not sure which application to download currently, but I used to do that. If this can cool 165 watt 3080 easy amazing thermals, well, that's the thing. I'm guessing, um, yeah, I don't know. That's the thing. I don't know if it'll be able to actually cool 165 watt 3080 or not. It's a very thin chassis. I mean, there's thermal laws. I would be very impressed if it did 165 watt 3080 in this little chassis. Um, okay, so taking a look at our score, we got 9,079 for our first run. We're gonna run this again, and for Timespy we average our score. So first run GPU we got 9079, and also we need to check to make sure there's no overclock on it because there might be an overclock on this. That was a bit high on the clock speeds. So let's take a look just to make sure that we don't have an overclock at all. There's Afterburner. Yeah, we still have an overclock applied. So let's just get back to stock here. And so that was an overclocked run. That's a bit lower last time. I think when we ran this during the unboxing, um, so during the unboxing, we got I'm trying to get this to set exactly to 0 and doesn't want to set. During the unboxing, I think we got like 9,200 something like that, 9,200, which is very good for a 3060. The best score for a 3060 that I've ever seen so far. So, okay, we are good on our clock speed. So that was an overclocked run. Let's see how this does on a non-overclocked run. I want to make sure we got these random things popping up. I just want to close these. Like, can I just have you not? Yeah, don't run at startup, please. I know that if I was like a colorist, I would want to keep that up, keep my color calibration running, but we don't really care about that, right? I want to make sure all applications are closed that can be closed. Okay. All right, so let's do another run. So that was a little OC run. I'm going to change this to say OC. Plus 100 OC plus 100 200 OC. There we go. Oh, and now I can grab this. There we go. Okay. All right, so this is stock. This is what you should expect out of the box, hopefully. Here, Lee with the donation, super chat. Appreciate it. Gizmo, I paid $2,800, $2,400 USD for a Legion 5 Pro with 3070 Ryzen 5900, 16 gigs of RAM, 2 terabyte SSD. Please tell me I didn't make a mistake. Can you recommend something better? That sounds like a pretty reasonable deal. I wouldn't say that's an insane deal for a 3070 though. You get the 5900 HX, that's good. The 2 terabytes is really nice. Those are going to cost you a bit extra as well. If you were going to upgrade your RAM or upgrade your storage space anyway, then that's probably not bad. If you didn't really care that much about your storage space, then it probably wasn't worth it. But maybe, I mean, that's a solid deal. I wouldn't say that's a bad deal at all. I just wouldn't say it's an amazing deal. I have not reviewed the Legion 5 Pro yet, so, but for yeah, I don't know. Let me know what you think of it. I'm really curious what your thoughts are. It should be a really nice laptop. Um, yeah, I in my mind, I'm thinking at $2,400, I would recommend the GP 663080 instead. That's just kind of what my thought is at that $2,400 price point. But did you make a mistake? Probably not. Is it my first pick? No. But that still seems like a solid pick. Does that make sense? Okay. Uh, is this thing on spreadsheet? Yes, it is. It's on the spreadsheet. 1699, Chris Johnson on the spreadsheet. If you want to find it on there. I got this laptop right now. I was wondering if you have direct connection to Lenovo to ask questions and suggest improvements. Yes, I do. This was sent to me by the Lenovo marketing team. There's a review unit. This will be going back to them when the review is done. Can we expect a $3,000 price tag for the 3080 model? I don't know, but if they're charging $1,799 for the 3060 model, I'm anticipating the 3070 model will probably be $400, $500 more than that, and then the 3080 model will be another $300, $400, $500 more than that. So I don't know. I'm expecting like a $2,800, $2,600 to $3,000 price tag, depending on what unit you get with it. I don't know. Depends on what processor you get too, like 5800H or 5900H, how much RAM and how much storage space it comes with. Hero, thanks for the super chat again, dude. Appreciate it. How is the color gamut? Very good, Contrail. I really enjoy the screen. Honestly, not very many screens make me a little bit jealous because I have the Scar 15 with the QHD, very high color gamut, 92% Adobe RGB. And but the thing is, with the Scar 15, it's only like 325 nits. This screen is like 400 nits, so that's the part that really makes me jealous. I really like the screen, and the 16:10 aspect ratio. I love that too. Lord, Lord Igorius with the 400 rubies. Thanks so much for the super chat. Waiting to see the GE76 for gaming and data processing. Any idea when we can expect a review? You're talking about the 11th gen. I don't have an 11th gen. I have the 10th gen right now that MSI sent over. And you can check out my live benchmarks of that and my live unboxing if you wish. 8755. So we lost about 300 points. And interestingly enough, that's a bit lower than what we got in the live unboxing. I think we got like about 200 or so points more both times with the live unboxing. And I'm curious if this is not a Windows update thing, because this has happened on several of my reviews recently, or like my live unboxings and then benchmarks, where like the GP66 was just like this too. It was like my live unboxing is like a few points more, like 200, 300 points more in the unboxing. And then I get Windows fully updated. I update all the drivers and everything. And then it drops by like 200 to 300 points. Very weird. Anyway, 8755 for our non-OC score. Let's go ahead and run it again. $88.73. And by the way, guys, I'm also working on the MSI GP66 review lately. That's what I've been kind of like. I skipped a couple days where I was going to live stream and just started working on that review. I got all the graphs done. All the tests are done. And we're filming the B-roll right now. So hopefully I can get the main talking points edited and put out the video hopefully by like Tuesday, maybe Wednesday. That's kind of the goal. I don't think I'll be able to get it all done by end of tomorrow, but we'll see. Could you get a chance to review the MSI GP76 3070? Ooh, I'd like that. I'd like to check that out. I especially actually want to check out the GP76 3080 because if I'm thinking the GP76 3080 will be 150 to 55 watts, and I think that will be amazing. Potentially amazing value bang for the buck for a high TDP 3080. So I mean that's the one I really want to review right now. Hey Gizmos, so prices are quite high for the 3000 series laptops. How long will price ups continue, you think? And in your opinion, which is your favorite best laptop so far? So my best laptop Under $2,000, I would say is the GP66 Leopard and the Asus Strix Scar 15 with an RTX 3080. Those are my top two picks right now. With the Leopard being the best for CPU-bound games, and or maybe the Aorus 15P as well. It's right up there. I haven't tested that one yet though, but and I think the Aorus 15P also has a little better port selection. So if you're after more ports, it'll be a little better. But the GP66 has higher TDP on the GPU. And then the Scar 15 with the 3080 for 2,000, that keeps coming in and out of stock. It came into stock, I think, yesterday and then went out of stock immediately. I got notified of it, and then by the time I was going to update the sheet, it was already out of stock again. It was like went out of stock very, very quickly. Anyway, so the next best laptop I would recommend on the lower end side, I think the best performance for your money under $1,500 is probably an RTX 3070 Omen 15Z. I think that'll be the best because you get a 3070 100 watt, which will score right around 9400 in Timespy, 9500 in Timespy for right around $1,500. And then the alternative option is going for like a high TDP 3060, like on the Aorus 15P. For example, that one has a mux switch. So if you need a mux switch for esports games, I feel like that's the that would be one of the go-tos around that price point. And then for above $2,000 is kind of where, in my mind, like it's time to ideally either get the most power in the smallest package size, or go for just like the most power possible. So, the Alienware M17R4, the MSI GE76, maybe the GP76. You got the electronics laptops that have some high TDPs on some of their laptops, like the Prometheus. You've got a couple Clevo chassis. And then, we've got a bunch of laptops coming out, like the Legion 7 with a 3080. You've got, there's just a number of them that are going to come out with really high TDPs and good potential. Like the Alienware X series. There was a leak with the X series laptops. It's going to have slotted RAM. Interesting. We'll see, we'll see, we'll see. Which one would you choose, the GP66 or the Legion Pro? I'd probably go GP66, but the display on the Legion series is also really good if the display quality is your main focus. What do you think about gaming performance, multitasking? That's better, i7 11800H or the 5800H? I'm leaning towards the Intel for gaming and Ryzen for multitasking, but they're both like very good at the other thing as well. So yeah. Piyush Gidhar, RTX 3080. Thanks so much for the super chat. RTX 3060, 105 watts, same FPS in all settings, low, high. Any help, please? So if you have the same FPS in all the different settings, low to high, that means you're being bottlenecked hard by either the CPU or GPU. In this case, probably the CPU. So like if you're doing a CPU-bound game like CS:GO, for example, you may get the exact same settings in certain areas of the game, or like in Call of Duty Warzone or Fortnite or whatever. If you're in a particular area of the game that's extremely CPU bound, you're likely to get the exact same performance whether you have low, medium, or high settings. Because like let's say that you're on low settings and you're only utilizing the GPU by 30 or 40%, and you up the graphical settings up to maximum, and then you start only using the GPU 70%. You're still not utilizing the GPU to the maximum potential, so you're just going to be bottlenecked by the CPU or memory, for example. So, and in those situations, I just run everything on Ultra, and you get great overall performance. Okay, so we got 8755 on the first run and 8759 on the second run. So very consistent. Average those out, and then 8873 and 8906. So I got to actually get a calculator out for that one. Overall, solid performance and numbers here. Nothing bad about these. I just wish I knew the exact reason why we're getting slightly less than we were in the initial runs during the unboxing. So 8890. Okay, 8890. All right. Cool. Well, there's 3 Timespy runs. Let's go ahead and hop into Port Royale next. So uh, this is a test of the RTX performance. So basically, how much ray tracing you can do with the laptop, and it'll probably be very indicative of performance in games where you play uh, like Cyberpunk with RTX fully enabled and stuff like that. Using Acer Predator Helios 300 2021 laptop still bottlenecking. I got to know what game you're playing. Otherwise, it's hard for me to, it's hard for me to know exactly. Um, and I got to know the specs of the laptop. Is that the one with the i7 or the 6 core or the 8 core? And which game you're playing? And I might be able to help you a little more. How crazy would it be if they ever put an RTX 3090 in a laptop? Oh, I'd love that. I would love it for like Alienware Area 51M. Just give me an RTX 3090, cut down, and running at like 200 or so watts, maybe 240 watts, something like that. I don't even care if the laptop is like 2 inches thick. I used to use a 13-pound, 2.25-inch thick Clevo chassis, and I love that thing. Okay, I took it everywhere with me. I had a big old backpack. I would haul it to cafes. I'd set that thing up in Starbucks, okay, and I'd be like, "Look at me with a 6-core desktop processor." That was one of the first most expensive laptops I bought. That one cost me over 5,000. I think they will put a 3080 Ti in the laptop. They've never done a Ti series in laptops before, in the history of NVIDIA doing it, so I don't think they will. They'll probably do a super version next. 3080 Super, probably, like, I'm guessing 6 to 8 months from now. I don't know. That's kind of like their schedule. They like do a regular version and then they do a upgraded version. It's like a super version. We'll see. We'll see. The silicon shortage is a problem too. How much is the laptop going for? $1699. In the rush for an Alienware laptop, should I go for the M15 R5 or would it be worth waiting for the R6? Um, Aiden, I think you should check out, you should at least wait to see what the Alienware X15 and X17 laptops are like and their pricing, because their design and specs seem pretty awesome. I've actually got my eyes on an X17 potentially, but I'm sure they're probably going to be expensive too. So high on the premium pricing. CS:GO 100 to 140 FPS and i7. I think you meant 10 870H, 8 cores, all settings. Um, okay, that is pretty low FPS for CS:GO with that processor for sure. Um, are you does the Predator Helios have a mux switch? And if so, are you sure you're using or NVIDIA Optimus? And are you sure you're using the NVIDIA graphics card? Because an NVIDIA graphics card with, I think you said you had a 3060, 105 watt, that should be able to push several hundred FPS um, in the game. So I wouldn't be surprised if you're actually using the integrated Intel graphics card. Maybe, maybe. Because that can push sometimes close to 100 FPS in that old title. Um, so make sure that your GPU is switching over properly. Okay. 4228. All right. Solid, I think. I don't know. I'm not sure how. I'm not an expert on Port Royale um, benchmark results and how good or bad it is, but it seems good enough. Okay. Now, since crypto crashed, do you think we will see any GPUs on the market? Maybe. I think crypto has a limited time period right now because you have some cryptocurrencies moving away from GPU mining, like Ethereum is going to be moving away from using GPUs for mining, and that's going to be awesome for gamers. So um, that should hopefully free up the market unless some other cryptocurrencies come up to replace it. I don't know. We'll see. But that might really help free up the market and reduce some pricing. Uh, Contrail, he got the RTX 3060 version, so he probably meant 10870H, which is a 8-core CPU. But we'll see. Yeah, they're making GPUs with limited hash rates, but I don't think that's going to be the limiter, because I think people will always just hack the GPU if they want to do crypto mining. Like someone who's like dedicated enough to do crypto mining full time as like their job is going to figure out, they're going to hire someone to hack, or someone's going to figure out how to hack it, and then you know, they'll just hack it and then take it off of the internet or whatever. I guess they have to be on the internet to do some crypto mining, but they'll figure out a way to bypass it, is all I'm saying. So I wouldn't think the limiters are going to do much. Is the R7 5800H that much better than the R5 5600H? Think of going for the R5 with the Legion 5 paired with the 3060. It's going to be a noticeable bump up, especially in certain games that use multi-cores, like Call of Duty Warzone. 6 core versus 8 core, though, for multitasking, like general use of the laptop will be great on both CPUs. Um, and even a 6 core is going to be good enough for video editing and everything like that. It's just not going to render the videos quite as quickly. And so if you want the most performance, I think a 5800H is better for the longevity of the laptop if you're going to be doing those CPU intensive things. When is Dell releasing the X series? I believe probably sometime in June-ish. I don't know. I'm guessing. I don't know the exact date, but I would anticipate within the next 2 months, almost for sure. Um, so yeah. What is the best RTX 330 series laptop for 1699 or lower? Um, for $1,600, you can get a 3070. So yeah, around the $1,500 to $1,700 price point, you have to choose: do you want CPU performance or GPU performance, basically? Because you can either get a 3070 with a weaker CPU, or you can get a 3060 with a strong CPU. Or you could go for like a 3060 with a mediocre CPU and very premium build quality. It's pretty, unless you get something like a really good deal, you might be able to get all three, maybe. Like you get something on sale, or maybe you get like a 10th gen Intel or something like that. Gizmo, how did you find the keyboard and trackpad how do I find it? I really like the keyboard and trackpad on this Legion. It's really impressive, I think. It feels good. It's smooth. Feels pretty premium. Okay, so overall score overall was 19. I don't really care about overall score, but we'll put it in here anyway. 19,376. GPU was 21,883. CPU was 24,144. Okay. Now we're on to Cinebench R20. Here we go. All right. The screen is so bright when when these whites come up, it's just like, whoa, blinding. Who needs facial lights? Just use the light from the laptop screen, okay? It'll fill in the light on my face anyway. All right, so here we go, Cinebench R20. So we're gonna run this like 2 or 3 times, get the initial temperatures up on the CPU, and then we're gonna see what kind of wattage we get. Right now we're hitting 83 watts, 81 watts, 81.3 watts, and we'll see what we average for our initial. So we're initially averaging 81 watts to the CPU, which is really good. That's solid. That's near peak wattage. I think you could go a little bit higher than that, but you can see we're hitting 4 gigahertz on all cores right now. That's really, really good. Solid performance here so far. And so what we're going to do is we're going to run this several times. And then, so basically that allows us to reach any kind of thermal throttling threshold or power limit threshold. And then we'll start averaging the scores. And I average 5 of these runs back to back. and that'll be our Cinebench R20 score. So first one is 4907, which is really good. That's high. That's a high score for a a Ryzen 7 5800H. Piyush says, using graphics processor for games could be single channel 16 gig. Oh, if you only have single channel memory with 16 gigs of RAM, that could be an issue too. You always want to use dual channel, especially for CPU intensive games. You'll really hurt your frame rates in CPU intensive games with only single channel memory. You'll be better off with two 8 gig sticks than one single 16 gig stick. How long do you usually keep your laptops before upgrading? I mean, the last few years, I've been upgrading. I think I've upgraded 3 times in 3 years, so about a year-ish on average, but it just depends. One of my reasons for upgrading a lot is because, oh, we got 5,072 that run. Very nice run for our second run. So one of the main reasons for upgrading is because I constantly want to use the latest hardware and be intimately aware of it because I'm reviewing it. And so, and it's hard to truly know the ins and outs of a processor or CPU or GPU without actually using the products on a daily basis, because if you run into like issues with certain software or processors, oftentimes those issues won't come out in just running a few benchmarks on a laptop. But I mean, so basically now that I'm getting into I'm basically doing laptop reviews full time as my main job now. So that's one of the reasons why, like, anytime I buy a laptop for myself, it also allows me to review it and make videos on it. So it goes directly into my business as well. So 5037, that'll be our first official run. Very nice. 5037. The latest BIOS of this laptop has a memory OC option, but this is always unavailable. Do you think Lenovo will be allowing XMP in the future? I'm not sure. Best gaming laptop for $1,700? Hmm. Depends on what games you play. 5066. Very nice scores. I gotta say, I'm impressed, Lenovo. Like we're just straight hitting 80 watts of power nonstop. And pretty much hitting 4 gigahertz across all cores consistently. And to top it off, our temperatures have not hit 95. They're at 94 though. They're very hot. But they're riding that thermal edge where they're not thermal throttling at all. Like no thermal throttles yet that I've seen. So, but we're definitely it's right on the edge with thermal throttling. So, yeah. But still, it's not thermal throttling, at least not yet. There's 95. Anytime we hit 95 or more, I bet you that we're going to see just a small clock dip down to like 3.8 or 3.7, and it'll go back up to 4 once the temperature comes back in line. 48.98 that run. I'm guessing, we probably got a little bit less because I was moving around so much in the menu in here, but a bit toasty, but not bad. Yeah, it's a bit toasty. If I could run this on max fans, I can almost guarantee you, like really the fans are only running at like medium speed right now, and I can't set it to max fans. If I could, this thing would be probably much better temperatures. Now we're hitting 95.6. This is the highest, 96 degrees now. I wonder if we're going to see any thermal throttling Or I look at what is the proc hot temp? Usually it's either 95 or 100 on these new Ryzen processors. It's not gone above 96 yet. There's just hit 96. 5022. Best gaming laptop for playing Call of Duty at $1,700. Hmm. Probably an Intel with a Mux switch. So, and you want an 8-core CPU. So, I think like the one I would definitely recommend probably the most, if you can save a couple hundred more, go with the MSI GP66. The one that I tested, it had some of the highest Warzone frame rates I've seen so far in a laptop, and it's only $1,900. So if you can't afford that much, then I would say you probably got to go for a Mux switch enabled 3060 probably. So something like the Aorus 15P with a Mux. So 5093. I think that's our last run, isn't it? But I'm gonna do one more and replace that outlier that's lower. What do you think of the drop control keyboard, and is it worth the price? Not sure what you mean by the drop control keyboard. Can you clarify? Every time a game freezes or kicks you out of the game on PC, do you have to enable full screen optimizations? I am not sure. That's gonna depend on what game. Throttling starts at 95 degrees. Well, we're hitting 95 degrees, but I'm not really seeing any throttling. We're still hitting 79, 80 watts exactly. So, I mean, I think we're probably just riding that thermal edge of where we're barely not throttling. Where if we could have max fans, we wouldn't be throttling at all. We wouldn't even be close to throttling probably. So that's a little bit sad to me. So 50, 57. Okay, and we're gonna get rid of the lower one because that one's not very indicative of the performance overall. Okay, next up, Cinebench R23. Let's go. But so overall, Cinebench performance, I'd give it basically like a perfect, almost perfect rating. If we could have max fans, it would be perfect for this laptop, especially considering everything. Okay, so this is gonna take 10 minutes to run this test. What would you recommend for QHD Ryzen 5 3000 series for $22,000 budget? I dreamt of the Legion 5 Pro, but I think there are better releases soon. Hmm. Okay, well, we're waiting for this to finish. It's going to run in the background. Um, I'll set the, we'll come back and check on this, but I'm going to set this, I just reset the temperature monitoring and everything. We'll be able to watch it and check out the wattage in a second. Let's check out let's check out the, do. There we go. All right, so Hero wants to know what's the best laptop in the $2,000 to $2,400 range with a Ryzen processor. Um, and I think it's important not to necessarily limit yourself just to Ryzen because I think the 11th gen Intel is very promising and is very competitive with the Ryzen CPUs. So just keep that in mind. For $2,400, my recommendation is this GP66 Leopard for a 15-inch for $22.99. So with tax and shipping, you're going to get very, very good performance. It's probably up to 135 watts actually, even though MSI's website's wrong. Um, okay, and then another great option would be the Aorus 15P 3080. I think those are kind of my top two picks at the $2,400 price point. And then you've got the If you really want QHD though, right? That was one of the things you wanted. So on the sheet here, I'm going to type in QHD, and let me switch this to the other camera real quick. There we go. Okay. So you really want a QHD laptop, then what you do is you hit Control F to do find, and then type in QHD, and it'll highlight all of the QHD laptops. So you can look at all the different price points with QHDs on it, and you can see the QHD starts here with the Electronics RP, and then you get it with the Zephyrus G15 here at $1,500 for the 3060. The Legion 7 has a QHD, the G15. So for the $2,400 price point, you've got the Razer Blade Pro 17 with a QHD, the GE66 with a 3070 has a QHD. That's a very high color gamut as well. This is a very nice display. It's the same one on the Razer Blade laptops, I believe. Same model. Um, the GS66, if you want something thinner and lighter, a little lower TDP, we got a QHD 240 hertz there as well for 2400. And then you really wanted a Ryzen. Let's see here. So the Strix Scar 15 with the Ryzen 7 5800H, you can get a QHD for 2200, or this RTX 3070. I believe the Scar 15 that has a 3080 for 2000 is a 1080p display, I believe. So let's see here. Scar 15, 3080, 2000. It's only a 1080p display, so that's not going to get you what you want with the QHD. But if you're getting a 15-inch, I don't think QHD is necessarily a must-buy. So yeah, this is a very nice laptop as well. Looks like the Alienware M15R5 has a QHD 240 hertz display with G-Sync and Advanced Optimus. So that seems like a really attractive option right around this price point. A little bit less even than your price point, but you get a 3070 max performance. That's very attractive to me. I think. Plus, you get the Advanced Optimus, so you don't have to reboot every time. Like, don't underestimate how useful that is. It's very, very useful. Okay, let's go ahead and switch back to the other view here. Check up on the laptop. So we're about 5 minutes in now. We are averaging 79.6 watts of power, and our temperature is also 94.8. That's very high temps. Very right, like riding that edge. Sorry, let me check out chat. Why is MSI not releasing a QHD GE76? I'm not sure. I would anticipate they would, but it's a 17-inch display. A lot of these QHD laptops, the 240 hertz QHDs are 1080p, they're 15-inch chassis, not 17-inch. So it's probably definitely, almost for sure, it's a manufacturing bottleneck. Getting 17-inch QHD panels, probably just not enough to go around. Advanced Optimus is super nice. Yeah, I definitely recommend if you can get an Advanced Optimus. It's still a little bit janky when it switches. Like it kind of makes your laptop stutter. I want them to fix that. Like they kind of fixed that on the Scar 15, but it's not true Advanced Optimus because it's not direct connection. Where with the GP66, it's a true Advanced Optimus where you're truly swapping. Between the two. And I didn't mean GP66, I meant the Alienware M15R5. The GP66 has a mux switch, not Advanced Optimus. Hey, is the MSI GE76 11800H coming to your list soon? Anytime? I need to find a listing for it in the United States, and then I'll add it to the list. I need to go through and check. I need to go through and check. Let me check Newegg right now. While we're waiting, see if the GE76 has come out. Yeah, so there is a GE76 right here. It's out of stock ETA July 6th. Yikes. It's also only a 1080p 360 hertz panel. and it's a 3070 version, so you don't get a 3080 there. Still seems like a pretty solid option, but it's a bit high on the price point. But you're paying that for a little premium action, I think. Probably the 11 11980HK is probably this is the model to buy in my mind with the GE76. You get the high TDP 3080. You get the 11th gen i9 11980HK, 32 gigs of RAM. It's just a very high price point, but this thing looks awesome. Seriously, looks freaking awesome. So if you want to check that out and still support me, you can go through this Newegg link. If it's not on the sheet, I thought they were on the sheet though. I added a bunch of MSI laptops initially. Maybe I just needed to go back and check the sheet out, or check to make sure that we've got all of them on there. It's hard to make sure that I'm not missing any. If I'm being honest. 33.99. Yeah, it's right here. So yeah. See if the 11800H is on here though. It's $25.99, right? Yeah, so here's the one you're talking about right here. It's on here. So cool. We got a minute and a half left on the benchmark. Hero Lee. Thanks, bro. I appreciate you for real. I really do. Aiden says, is the M15R5 plastic or aluminum? I believe it's like a, hold on one second. Let me just grab it again. Sometimes it's honestly hard to tell on some laptops because it's very high quality plastic and with a really good finish over it. That said, it feels like metal and it feels very solid in the hands. But it's hard to tell. There's probably a mixture here. Like it doesn't feel like plastic and it's very weighty to it. So I would get the impression that it's mostly made of metal on the chassis. But I need to do I imagine there's a mix, like depending on what part of the panel and which part of the laptop, I bet you there's a mixture. Like the top lid's almost for sure metal, and the keyboard deck is almost for sure. Honestly, the keyboard deck feels like it might be plastic, but like the bottom of the chassis and the top deck almost for sure are metal. But I think the keyboard deck is plastic. Interesting. That's a weird combination because usually the keyboard deck, usually the bottom will be plastic. Okay, here we go. We're just finishing up this test. 13,074. That's very nice. Is that Excel spreadsheet? Is that posted on the Discord server? It's linked in the video description down below. And yeah, it's linked in the video description down below. And you can, I'm not sure, I think there is a section in the Discord server to that spreadsheet as well, but I link it in the video description below of all my videos as a resource, you know. So, okay, so we got 13,074. Very, very nice. Let's do single core, but we're gonna do just yeah. Yes, we should do single core. 13,074. It takes a while to do these single core. 13,074. That's very good score for Cinebench R23. Very, very nice. It's aluminum with a really strong coating, DJ Rocketman says. Nice. Yeah, well, I feel like there's parts of it that are plastic, but it could be aluminum all the way around. Like mainly just this keyboard deck looks like it might be plastic. At the very least, this keyboard deck has a different style of coating on it than the rest of the laptop. So, but it's probably metal. I gotta say, overall, this M15R5 feels very premium in my mind. Battery is very low. It's critically low, it says. So I'm gonna need to plug this laptop in. Where is it? You know, the problem with so many laptops right now is that I've got like 8 power bricks down here under this desk right now. And it's hard to keep track of which one goes to which laptop when you get so many laptops flying around. Daryl Sanders, love these live streams. Thanks. Appreciate it. Good plastic is better than crap metal in my opinion. Yeah, if the plastic is made from the right material, it's thick enough, it's going to last long enough. Like yeah, it's I think plastic is perfectly fine. Um, like for example, my Scar 15 that I bought is plastic. It's largely plastic. And I think it has a metal top deck and like a plastic main body. But it's built very solidly and feels very premium still. So and the nice thing about plastic laptop chassis is that they do not, um, when you have a plastic laptop chassis, you don't have to worry about the thermal conductivity of the metal chassis as much. For example, back when I had a MacBook Pro back in like 2007, the whole aluminum chassis became a heat sink for the GPU and CPU basically. And it was just made the whole laptop too hot. Like you could barely touch the keyboard anywhere. Like the touchpad and the wrist rests were very, very hot. Um, so if you don't design a metal chassis properly, then you're much more likely to have uncomfortably warm wrist rests. So you basically just have to keep the heat away from those areas of the computer, otherwise they tend to heat up. Gizmo, can you see pixels on a 1080p 17-inch display? Depends on what you're looking at, but I can noticeably tell I can see more detail if I go from 1080p to QHD on a 17-inch display. So yeah. Contrail says, and no paint scuffing like on aluminum. Yeah, like if you get aluminum scratched, oftentimes it's very easy to notice. And also with metal, you can also ding it in, like where you can like hit plastic and you might get like a little indent or something, maybe a tiny little one. But like my MacBook Pro that I was talking about, I had just set my backpack down too hard one time and it bent in part of the area around one of the corners because it just hit too much force on the aluminum and it just bent the aluminum in. So that reduced the price of that laptop a lot when I sold it. Henrik with the super chat, thanks so much. 17.3-inch QHD Advanced Optimus 5900HX or similar Intel, full TDP RTX 3080, 32 gigs of RAM, and a Dell style support scheme. Is that too much to ask for? Legion 7 is almost there, but delayed. $3,000 style budget. Um, hmm. Yeah, what you need is like Alienware M17R5. That's what you're asking for, basically. I think that would be a great laptop option. I don't know why I don't know why Alienware didn't offer a 17-inch AMD chassis. It's kind of a bummer they didn't, honestly. It could have been a huge market, I think, because there's I feel like there's a lot more variety and options in the 15-inch chassis than there are in the 17-inch chassis, and a lot of the QHD displays are in the 15-inch chassis, not the 17-inch, which kind of drives me crazy because my ideal laptop is a 17-inch with QHD. So. Shouldn't you expect specs like that with the new Alienware Series X? Zip, I do believe you are right. We're going to see similar specs, but not with the Ryzen processors. The Intel processors will likely have Advanced Optimus, I think, probably. But we've been seeing some of the M15R4s with Advanced Optimus too. So hopefully the Alienware X15 and 17 have Advanced Optimus as well. Chill Gamer says, hello, Gizmo Slip Tech. Could you please confirm if the keyboard deck on the Legion 7 is metal or plastic? Also, please, can you do a flex test on the keyboard deck? Thank you. So Chill Gamer, I did do all of that in the live unboxing. Sounds like you should go check that out. But I can tell you that the Legion 7, I believe, is an all metal build, except for maybe a few of the extra parts. So the keyboard deck is metal, and it feels very premium with almost no flex. There is some flex around the keyboard area, but around the sides, basically no flex at all on the wrist rests or touchpad. And it feels The touchpad also feels really good. Like it feels like a very premium touchpad. Henrik G, cheers. I agree. Cool. Thanks. I'm glad you agree. Hey, how does a mock switch work? I believe what you mean is a mux switch, and I believe we still have a command working. Does this still work? Exclamation mux. Let's see here. It's not coming up. There it is. Video to the mux switch. There you go. So that video should explain what a mux switch is. And basically, though, I'll give you like the 5-second version. A mux switch will switch you between your integrated graphics card and your dedicated GPU, and it basically influences how much performance the GPU can um, put out when paired with a CPU. Because if you don't have a mux switch, you have to send the video signal through the integrated GPU on the CPU, which becomes a bottleneck, and that can reduce your performance. That said, on the 11th gen Intel, we've got a lot of PCIe lanes, and I believe a mux switch will not be as important as it is on Intel 10th gen and Ryzen 5000 series. Gizmo, any idea when the Legion 5 is releasing? Also, when are the other models of the Lite 5 Pro releasing? I am not sure, Ellie. If you search on Lenovo's website, you actually can't find that Legion 5 Pro. I only found the Legion 5 Pro link through a Reddit thread, and someone also emailed it to me. So they still officially aren't listing it, the Legion 5 Pro. So I don't know when they're going to add new models and make it available to everyone. I was actually tempted to buy it. I was like, I really want to review this, and then I was like, oh, I need to. I've got too many laptops to review right now, so I need to review the laptops I have before I get any more in. Plus, a lot of people, a lot of manufacturers are starting to send me stuff. Like, I know Alienware is planning on sending me the Alienware X17. They've confirmed that they will order that for me to review it, so that's really cool. Then Lenovo sent me this Legion 7, and then yesterday I got the XMG Neo 15 in. I'm not sure if it's a 3070 or 3080, but I got that in from XMG. It's funny, I actually got the package, and this feels pretty cool. Not gonna lie, feels pretty cool because it's the same laptop that Linus Tech Tips had, and so it was actually shipped to me from the Linus Tech Tip company. That was like, because it's they've reviewed the laptop first, and now I get to check it out. Which is just like, I don't know, makes me feel a little cool inside, you know. It's kind of silly, but whatever. Do I prefer the M15R5 or the RG Scar 15? XMG is electronics from Europe. Kind of mostly. They both sell Tongfang chassis for sure, at least. And so they sell some of the same laptop models, just with rebranding it differently between electronics and XMG. Okay, 1412 is our single core score. Very nice. That's right up there with you. That's right up there with what I would expect for a single core. Okay, let's hop into some Warzone now. It's time to get in the zone. The war zone. It's like the AutoZone commercial, but yeah. 90s. 90s babies and younger will understand what I'm saying. If you guys, I don't know, like when I grew up, uh, I had that commercial would play all the time. Get in the zone, AutoZone. It's like so corny. All right. Some of you guys, it's hard for me to answer all the questions because there's just so many of them. If I miss your question and it's been a few minutes and like the chat is completely moved up, feel free to post it again, but just make sure the chat's completely moved up again. So, because I'm not going to go back through chat and like look for old questions. Yeah, Johnny Q, I've added the Legion 5 Pro a couple days ago to my sheet. So, if you do your streams earlier like this one, I'll be able to watch them, LOL. Past couple of streams were like 5 a.m. for me. Oh, gotcha. Do you believe the normal Legion 5 non-pro with the Ryzen 5 5600U will have better temps than the Pro? Also less fan noise, I guess. Um, so either it'll have the same fan noise and better temps, or it could have it all depends on how they design it. There's no way to really know exactly because sometimes they use the exact same thermal solution from when they switch out the hardware. Because like if they can make the exact same motherboard fit multiple computer components, then they can basically reuse the thermal heat sinks and parts. But also if they're switching from like a 3080 down to a 3060, it's likely that they'll have to redesign the fans and heat pipes to be more extensive um, in order to handle the additional thermal load. Because if you go from a 3060 125 watts in the Legion 7 to a 3080 with 165 watts, I mean, it's probably it's definitely not the same thermal solution between those two laptops. Um, so it's just going to vary from laptop to laptop. The Aorus 15P 11800H 3060 for 1600 seems a little overpriced for a 115-watt GPU. Would you recommend it? Chippy, I don't think that's overpriced. I think that's about right because it's got a mux switch and it's got the latest 11th gen Intel. I think if you value CPU bound game performance, it's worth the extra money. We need to exit. We need to make sure. We need to make sure we've got no overlay here from GeForce Experience. Boom. That's already off. Cool. So basically, like if you want to play games like Warzone, Fortnite, Apex Legends, games where there's frequent CPU bottlenecks, having that mux switch will really improve your gaming performance. So much so that a 3060 laptop might beat a 3070 laptop in those CPU-bound games. Um, and so that's why I think the Aorus 15P is probably a great deal, considering it has a mux switch. Now, the there's other options around that price point as well. But it just depends on kind of what you value, you know. So like you could go for a $1499 Zephyrus G15 with a Ryzen 5900HS, for example. But your CPU bound game performance would be better with a laptop with a mux. So, all right, change that. Let's go ahead and change this 3060. So we are doing QHD right now, right? We're doing QHD 2560 by 1600, very generous resolution. And we're going all the way to, yeah, we're doing that on a 3060. So I'm not anticipating amazing frame rates here because we're doing this on a 3060. If we had a 3070 or 3080, I would expect some better performance. But I'm thinking this is a game where you might want to drop it down to 1080p resolution. But we'll see. I'm thinking probably 70 to 90 FPS in actual gameplay. Maybe even less than that. Maybe only 50 to 80. I don't know, somewhere in that range. Okay, so we are all on all low, full screen. I think we're good to go. So first of all, we're going to do the Battle Royale training mode where we have to wait for this to prep. It's going through some prep here. I can't see what percentage it is, but it's still going up here. It's 99%, I think. 100%. Okay. Um, there we go. So I'm anticipating good performance here. In the training zone, I'm anticipating really good performance, probably closer to 100 or more. But when we get into actual gameplay, I'm anticipating drops lower. We'll find out here. I'm really curious what the Warzone performance is going to look like. Here we go. The Zephyrus G15 has soldered RAM to the motherboard. Yeah, that's true, but that's not a bad thing necessarily if you don't need the 32 gigs of RAM. Though the RAM they did use on their laptop was not great on the timings, I don't think. So Yeah, you're going to get reduced performance in CPU and memory in sensitive games as well. But I mean, that's only a handful of games, so like I wouldn't let that be a deal breaker unless you really really care about those games. Games like Shadow of the Tomb Raider and like Hitman 2, for example. Does the mux switch does not matter if you connect to an external GPU. That is correct. At least if you're using the correct external display connection. Hey, this is back to normal again, I think, right? Cool. All right. So here we go. Let's see what we get. Hey, we're hitting like 100 exactly, like what I predicted, about 100. I mean, it's still obviously great enough FPS to play and not like feel like you're super gimped or something. But I just know compared to some of the other laptops that we've been seeing, um, like the GP66 did like 160 here. So let's just go ahead and put this in here. So Warzone training mode, we did 102 to 86. Very nice. That's QHD. And then let's see, can I switch this to full HD? If we switch this over to full HD, we might be able to get the full HD test done real quick. So we're going to do 1080p. So this is not quite the right screen ratio here. Okay, just keep that in mind. Okay, so new test. Interestingly enough, we're having lower 1% lows. Well, we're hitting 138 now. But everything is a little stretched vertically right now because we're on a 16 by 9. Full HD 137.73. Okay. And we're going to hop into a match as well for this game. So we're going to get some actual gameplay running, seeing what it looks like. Okay. I need a regular gun. Y'all got a regular gun for me? Okay, cool. Thank you. Oh. Oh, snap. We die into the fog. Okay, this plays really great, obviously. Was the GP66 QHD? No, it is not QHD. One downside of the GP66 is that it's only a 1080p display option. If you want the QHD option, I believe you're going to have to go with the GE76 and pay a bit more for that premium feature, basically. Oh my gosh. That came out of nowhere. This takes forever to reload. I should just not reload it. It's like an LMG, so I don't need to reload it, right? Oh my goodness. This training mode, there's just people everywhere, which is great for warming up, but it's a bit chaotic, you know? Let's check out this gun. What is this gun? MP5? I mean, this is obviously some great performance. Let me go ahead and switch this back to the QHD so we can get some gameplay with QHD in the mix. And I'll actually do my other tests with QHD as well. It looks much clearer in this game when you don't upscale from 1080 to QHD. You just rock the straight QHD. It looks clear. Like it's noticeably sharper now. But that's true for Warzone and all the laptops I've tested so far. It just doesn't scale well with resolution for some reason. And sorry, I can't really read chat while I'm doing this. Let me just finish this up and then I'll check out chat. We got one more person to kill. So we're doing well above 100 FPS. What, did they die to the storm or something? Okay. This is looking really good. Is the 2070 Super still good? Yeah, it's still good GPU. And if you went with the 2070 Super, uh, there's nothing wrong with that as long as you get it at a good price. That's the key. You want to think about the 2070 Super kind of like an RTX 3060. Like a high TDP 2070 Super will be very similar in performance to an RTX 3060, basically. Do you prefer the Alienware M15 or the Scar 15? Um, I believe I would prefer the Scar 15 personally because it has better thermals. You can push higher CPU TDP, and I also really like the keyboard on the Scar 15, and the fact that you have a touchpad on a 15-inch, or the number pad that turns into a touchpad, the touchpad that turns into a number pad on a 15-inch. That's a very unique feature, and I can't speak apparently. Very nice. Okay, so let's hop into some solos match. Um, So I would say like those kinds of FPS numbers that we were seeing there at the end, those are the kind of performance numbers you should expect perhaps in the really rural areas of the map, which they were really good. They were like, what was that, like 120 or something in QHD? But we're going to go to the cityscape area here when we load into the solos mode. So, and no more stream sniping, okay, you fools. There was a stream sniper the last time I did this. All right, I'm refreshed. And that Gizmo early day tomorrow. Okay, Hero, thanks so much for all the super chats. I really appreciate your support. Thanks so much. All right, here we go. How much would the Legion 7 cost? This one is going to cost me. This one costs $16.99 according to Lenovo. We'll see if the prices change when it launches, though. You should expect similar-ish prices, or sorry, you should expect around that ballpark of price at least. Maybe give or take a little bit as markets change and everything. Make sure no one's chasing me. The guy's right here in base. This is a stream sniper, I bet. I don't I don't know if that is one or not. I'm being silly. I'm being paranoid after being killed by a stream sniper last time. Oh crap! How many stream snipers are there? Oh my god! Oh, hello. I will take this. Hey, where are you? Oh no! What? You got behind me somehow. I wasn't paying attention. Oh, he drove and then got out. Oh my god, he was right behind me. I don't have any. I don't have any headphones on. I can't hear the game, so I couldn't tell he drove in behind me. Well, we might have to do more than one match if we keep dying. See if we can win this little duel here. Um, okay, well we're getting pretty solid FPS, about 100 with a QHD mode going. So got him. Let's go. So this is surprisingly higher FPS than I was thinking QHD would get. Um, so very nice. Can I get in here? No, guess not. Can I get something that's not just ammo, please? Okay, we got a gun in case we run into someone now. Can we get plates too? Okay, well this is some great FPS. I think we're hitting 101 FPS average at QHD. This is the street I run up now. So let's see what we get on the average of this street. For a 3060, I think the performance is very good. That's where I was just knifed. Okay, 91 FPS on the street there. That's really solid. Um, cool. 99. Wait, what was it? I think it was 91, right? 91. Let me check the stream. 9166. Okay. And now I'm really curious what this is going to get at 1080p. Hey, there's my dead body. Okay. Let's go to 1080p. It didn't take. There we go. All right. So this is a very CPU bound area. We're probably going to get very similar FPS for that reason. Oh, there's lots of new guns in this game. What? Yeah. Whoa. Okay. Interesting. Lame. Okay. Well, there you go. There's our Warzone test. Very impressive FPS though, I think. Let's switch. What's the next game on the list? We got to keep moving through the list. Apex Legends. Let's go. Overall, I think you could get away with playing QHD on this machine with Warzone because of that mux switch. I like it. Apex Legends. All right, now let me check some chat out here. Okay. Please play games in 1200p. So the reason why I'm not is because I want to be able to have some comparable benchmarks. Does that make sense? Like I want some benchmarks that I can be like, okay, I can put this on a graph next to other 1080p laptop benchmarks. So that's why I'm dropping down to 1080p instead of 1200p. What is your opinion about the Asus TUF F15 for college and light gaming? I think it's a great laptop in many ways, mainly being its build quality and premium feel for its price. You know, it's hard to get something that's premium and nice build quality for was it 1149 now? But the performance side of things, you can definitely get better performance for the money. So it's kind of like you're sacrificing some performance because of a low TDP and only 4-core processor. So there's a trade-off basically that you have to make if you want to get that laptop. I think it'd be great for college, light gaming, casual stuff. Um, but if you want to get better performance, you should try to get spend a little bit more money and go for something closer to the $1,300 price point with like a 6 or 8 core processor. Does the keyboard get hot like on the Razer? So feeling the keyboard right now. The middle of the keyboards, yes, we got some warmth on this Legion, but it's not bad. It's all right. Okay. This, 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 this. Apply. Cool. All right. What's ya? All right. And wait, were we on the right? We're on the right one already. Cool. All right. So let's just see what we get in the training zone here. Oh, we're capping at 165, so that's a good sign, but also we need to go change that max FPS cap on the game settings. I have been forgetting. I need to just do this. I need to. No, not ready yet. Um, I can't change it while it's loading. I ordered 5 Pro. I'm super hyped. Arrives June 8th. Cool. Yeah, I mean, I think the 5 Pro seems like a good option as well. I think it's one of those ones that I think I'll be able to recommend uh, with some levels of confidence. It's just I want to check it out in person before I'm like yes, because I've never checked out the Legion 5 Pro. They definitely seem to be hitting a lot of the right markers for the Legion 5, the Legion series in general, like high TDPs. But they seem like even the Legion 7 though is kind of missing. Like we can't set maximum fans or set our own fan curve, which is a big disappointment I think for me as a enthusiast type person. Do I notice any coil whine or hinge creaking? Hmm. I mean, maybe a tiny. I don't think not really either. No, no hinge creaking or coil whine. But it's coil whine's one of those weird things where you kind of almost need to be in a quiet room with no other noise, basically. Okay, all of that should be good still. And yeah, we're hitting above the FPS cap now. Thoughts on the Alienware M15 R5 for school and medium hardcore gaming? Spec with the R7 5800 and 3070. Aiden, I think it's a good choice in many ways. I have yet to do my live stream benchmarking with this. I'm gonna do that soon, hopefully this week. I don't know. I've got a lot on my plate. My goal is to benchmark this soon. Um, so yes, but because I got to unbox the XMG Neo 15 and finish the MSI GP66 review. That's kind of my other two goals this week. But I want to do more testing with the M15. I was disappointed with the CPU thermals on the M15R5. I was hoping they would be better, but it does have an advanced Optimus, which is super convenient and awesome. So that's a giant 2 thumbs up. Um, yeah. Okay, look at this. So we're getting 180 FPS. With the GP66 Leopard, we were getting over 300, which is very interesting. Now this is the training mode, but I think this probably really exemplifies the difference between well, I guess we're also utilizing 96% of the GPU as well. So it's not like we're not really taking advantage of the GPU, I don't think, because that is an interestingly big gap. Oh, we've got a higher resolution. Duh. Okay, so we're doing QHD right now. We're 181, 164 on QHD. We're also going to hop into a match for Apex here soon. So let me okay, so Apex Legends training grounds, QHD, 181, 158, and then trios. Okay, well, real quick, I'll also just switch over to, well, it's not going to let me do 1080p on this game, but I'll just switch over to the 1200p for a moment. All right, see what we get here. But about 235. But I think this exemplifies the difference between the Intel and the Ryzen platform a little bit. That said, as long as you're hitting more than 165 FPS in this game, it doesn't matter because you're maxing out your frame rate in the display. Like, or it doesn't. It's not that it doesn't matter. It's like it matters very little. I'll put it that way. Okay, let's go back to native, and let's go to a match. All right. What did you miss? You missed the Warzone testing, Jojo. Okay. If you want to buy a 5 Pro, wait a month or two, then the price lowers again and discounts are applicable. Yeah, maybe. We'll see. There's a lot of hype around the Legion series right now. I don't know if the price will go down at all. Is the 16-inch screen on this Legion 7 standing out special to you? Does it seem to pop more than other stuff like the Alienware QHD or the Zephyrus G15? Yes, I will say this. I think what stands out to me on the Legion 7 design is the really high screen to body ratio and the brightness of the screen. Because on the Zephyrus G15 and the Scar 15, you've got the great color gamut, very similar color gamut to this, but you don't have the high brightness. And I really like the brightness on this thing. So I think we're gonna do. We're just gonna rock Gibby. I think probably Gibby or Pathfinder. Let's go Pathfinder. The brightness of the screen is eye popping. Yeah, that's what it's like to look like in real life. No, I'm just kidding. I just changed the shutter speed on the camera a bit. Um, but no, I really like the design of the Legion 7 Pro, or sorry, the Legion 7, close to the very, like it's right there at the very top. I think it's a 10 out of 10 on premium scale for me. Um, just because of the keyboard, trackpad, and then the screen to body ratio, and then the quality of the display. It's all very, very good. I'm not sure where to drop. Let's go. Let's go someplace with some verticality to it. Sure, we'll go. We'll go to the hot zone. Hopefully, my teammates don't hate me too much for coming over here. I don't know if there's anything good over here, but it's the hot zone, so maybe we'll get some fighting right away. I don't know where loot is. Let's find out. There's no loot over here. This is supposed to be the hot zone. How is this the hot zone? Oh my god, my teammates don't have loot either. And we all ran the same direction. You gotta split up when you come into the zone. You don't want to just follow each other. Okay, we got two R301s. Yeah, okay. I'm down. I would prefer to have like an R99 or something. Oh, hey, look, there's an R99. Bada bing, bada boom. Ooh. Oh, good. Oh, I can't aim. Come back here. This person is gonna have teammates. My keybinds aren't quite the same as what I usually play with on my main account, so this will be interesting. Where did the Bengal Doodle go? Oh, we destroyed them. Oh, double kill. Let's go. Their teammates there. Go for a triple. Triple kill, baby. Well, that was our last bullets right there. Uh, I really need light ammo. You guys got any light ammo? You know what? Let's. Oh, that's not good, guys. That's not good. I don't have heals. I don't have ammo. I just got a basic winger dinger. Oh god. Oh, I always have auto run enabled. No! Let me run away. Okay. All right. Nice. Are you going to try to test a AAA next? Something demanding 1440p. So Eddie, you can check the description, or so you can check the little list on the left side. That's the benchmarking order we're going to do. So I averaged 151 and 101 FPS. That's very good at QHD, I think. 151, 101. Okay. So Fortnite is next, and then you can see the what I'm doing after that. I believe Fortnite, and then it's Fortnite, and then Watch Dogs Legion. Okay, chat. Sorry, I've been busy playing. Hard to read. Reading chat. One other thing I'd love to see tested is DisplayPort out to HDMI 2.1 on a monitor OLED performance. Since the cryptocurrency is slowly losing on the market, do you think graphics card market's going to be normal soon? I think it'll get better, but it's going to take a while. Like it took a while for it to get bad. It's going to take a while for it to get better. You know?
가끔 여유를 찾고 싶다면 천문대에서 별을 보는 것도 좋다.
Okay. Hey, is the 5600G good enough to build without GPU? Because I'm actually considering a laptop under 1600. I'm not sure what you mean. Are you talking about a desktop processor? Am I playing in QHD? I was playing in QHD in the last one, yeah, for Apex Legends. For the games that I'm going to compare, like Far Cry 5, Shadow of the Tomb Raider, I'm going to test in 1080p and then 2560 by 1600 QHD. because I need to have 1080p to be able to compare versus the other laptops and the benchmarks. Okay, so I already set this to. I set this to. Okay, well I did go in here and set this to the low settings and DirectX 12 already. I'm annoyed that it didn't save it. Okay, apply. Okay, we got to restart again now because it didn't save it. Whenever you switch from DirectX 11 to DirectX 12, you have to restart the machine. So Revenge, I'm not an expert on desktop equipment, so it's hard for me to like give you good, solid recommendations on the desktop side, like what the very best value or bang for the buck is. So my main research around the desktop side was just like what's the highest performance systems because I like to have really high performance desktop and then a good solid laptop. So I'm not sure what the best budget desktops are right now. Price of this laptop is $16.99. Okay, here we go. This should be really, really good performance. Hopefully we get above 300 FPS on average, but we'll see. Either way, as long as we're getting at least 165, it'll be good. What if you benchmark with Discord in the background? It uses some RAM, but the alpha uses more RAM. It would make sense because a lot of people would probably have Discord running. Yeah, it's not a bad idea necessarily. Maybe doing a separate test video would be like Discord on, Discord off type of performance testing, you know? I don't I don't anticipate it would be a huge difference. Pretty much always in Fortnite during this initial part, it's always laggy because it's all these people hopping into the match. Okay. Where do we want to go? Uh Boney Burbs, Pleasant Park, the Spire. I don't know. Let's go to Boney Burbs. Wait, is this laptop cheaper than the Legion 5 Pro in the US? Um, well, the Legion 5 Pro in the US had a 3070 for like 1950, I think, and it had 2 TB of SSD space too. So this, I believe, only has 1 TB SSD, and it's an RTX 3060. So I would think the 3070 would still perform quite a bit better for your money, but it's hard to necessarily say. Okay, so as soon as we get landed, I'll start testing, start tracking everything. We got someone landing right next to me. Let me get down so I can drop, please. Thank you. Okay, and ah, what is this? I think that probably was a. It's got to be a bot, right? Like no one's that bad at this game, are they? I don't know. You never know with people in Fortnite. People playing on mobile or Xbox. Okay, this is definitely a real player. Oh gosh, I only have 5 bullets left. Oh gosh. Okay. Oh, they didn't have a gun. Got any shotgun shells, people? Maybe bots are smart enough to build in this game. I don't know. And when I say bots, I'm not being like demeaning. I mean actual like bots. Hey, shotgun shells. I'll take it. Okay. No, that's not what I wanted. Right here and right there. There we go. Shotgun is always in the 2 slot for me when I play Fortnite. Once I got extra ones, then I put it anywhere I want. typically speaking, SMGs go in the 3 spot, grenades in the 4 spot. Oh, there's someone here. Right? I saw something build. Did I not see something build? I don't know. Oh, yes. He had full shields too, and still managed to get him. All right. Cool, cool. Nope, that's not what I want. There we go. All right, and we can get an upgraded here. The apple. Are apples any good? I don't know. Oh, we left our med kit back there. Oh well. Okay, let's see here. Let's go to the Spire. Any chance that laptop might run EU5 on it? At least I'm curious. I'm not sure. Ooh, level up. Wow. I'm pretty sure a couple of these are bots that I'm fighting, but it's hard to know. Ooh, is that a sniper rifle? Oh, is this a sniper rifle? Is it? Let's see. Yes. Okay. I like sniper rifles for distance shots. Don't have the randomized bullet spread, you know? Huh. Should I switch this out? I don't know if I like this assault rifle or not. It's like this one has a good damage, but the bullet spread seems better on the regular assault rifle. You forgot your shotgun? No, I got a shotgun. This is a shotgun, right? Oh, this is not a shotgun. Crap. I thought this was a tactical shotgun, like one of the new designs. Oh god. Someone's shooting at me. Someone shot out my cover there. Oh. Oh my gosh. Are you kidding me right now? One of y'all got a shotgun for me? What is this gun? What is that? That is interesting. Oh goodness. Oh, are you good at this game? No, you are not. There's no way. There's just no way. No way these are real players, are they? Unless, I don't know, maybe I'm in a game with a whole bunch of noobs because this is like a new account or something. Maybe that's what's going on, but yeah. It says SMG. Yeah, it's probably not. I'll just go without a shotgun for right now. Is okay. Oh, the swim animation. There's only 7 people left in the match. Are you kidding me? How is that possible? Okay, so taking a look at our FPS, we're averaging 224 FPS with a QHD resolution. So, and we're only, the refresh rate on this display is only 165 hertz. So we're basically maxing out the refresh rate. So I'd say that's good. It's very good. And I think this will be a great laptop for Fortnite as well. Like if you want to play Fortnite competitively, this is gonna do. I mean, this is gonna be almost as good as like a really really high refresh rate. So that you could the only thing that'd be better maybe would be like a Intel 11th gen with a mux switch and like a 300 hertz display or 360 hertz display. I only have 13 arrows. Is this an Epic Store only game? Yes, I believe this is the Epic makes this game. Like this was made by Epic, so the big thing I need is to change my keybind to for building a wall to be something else. It needs to be Q. Like Q should be wall, C should be ramp. That's what I'm used to. Uh, wall should be Q. Yes. Apply back. Okay. And then so then I would do like QC like that, and I could build three, build up, get height. But I need a lot more building materials if I want to build many of those. Hey, that's a shotgun. There's still 7 people left. I should have shot him with a bow. Would have been. Oh, oh, come on. Oh, come on. Oh, okay. Let's do that. And let's go ahead and pop a couple of these. That bow does not look like long range. Yeah, kinda. It's a little bit slow on the travel distance. With travel speed, kind of have to lead them a little bit, Okay, we're getting attacked here by a dude. It's on the high ground. Oh, we destroyed him. Okay, so he's in here. Let's just take him. Let's take out his thing here. He's probably healing up right now. Wait, is he no longer up there? Where did he go? I'm so confused. Maybe he used like some kind of mobility tool or something to get out. This gun that I'm using right now feels really, really strong. Without good sound, it's like hard to know when people like use like a mobility tool because normally you'd hear the sound of everything. Oh, they built the top on me. I am not expert enough to edit my stuff right now. No. He was still there when you dropped him. Really? I missed it when he fell. Okay, well, GG, 224 FPS is awesome. So, very nice. 224. for Fortnite. Okay, next up, Watch Dogs Legion. QHD 224. And then, here we go. Direct Strike says, wait, isn't 11th gen worse than 10th gen? Since they lowered the 11th gen for better thermals? No. 11th gen is improved all around for sure. Better for gaming and slightly better for multi-core multitasking. Why does the GP66 have 120 more FPS than this? So Intel 11th gen is really impressive. There's no doubt in certain titles, they're just better optimized for Intel. Intel's architecture, perhaps, with all the extra PCIe lanes, um, the clock speed boost, and the actual game engine optimization are all factors into which games perform better with what. But with Intel 11th gen on the GP66, we saw over 400 FPS in Fortnite. But those kinds of FPS gains really aren't that big a deal, right? So they're not that big a deal, at least in these games. And I'm saying they're not that big a deal because when you're talking QHD 165 hertz displays, all you need is 165 hertz, and you're good. You know, because you don't really need more than that. I mean, it still is helpful to try to get a maximum potential FPS, but it's really not like that big of a deal. You know. When will this come to market? It's supposed to come out of market in the U.S. near end of June. They are a big deal because of the 1% lows. Potentially, Mitchell. Yeah, if you have better 1% lows, like if you can have 1% lows that are above the screen's refresh rate, you know that you're getting basically perfect performance. Um, but with the GP66, we were also running at 1080p, not QHD. So you can't really compare apples to apples there too. So. Oh, yeah. But I mean, as long as you're not getting like severe stuttering or, you know, it's very difficult to tell. I mean, unless you're like a pro player, you're not even going to notice probably. Like if there's a 1% low difference that is very minor. Like obviously if it's like 100 FPS 1% low versus 300%, 300 FPS 1% low, more casual people might be able to tell that difference, but that's a very extreme difference, and we're not talking that big a difference, I don't think. Okay, so for this game we set it to ultra. Then we go down here to RTX. We set it to ultra, and for DLSS we go to balanced. And for our display, yes, all of that is correct. All right. Let's see what we get. Native resolution. Uh, yes, I'll be testing Red Dead Redemption 2 soon. You can see the list of games we'll be testing on the left. We're just going down the list in order. So Red Dead Redemption 2 is fourth from the last, actually. So it won't be soon. It'll be, I mean, it's coming up though. It's on the list. Okay, so we're at about 40 FPS right now. Certainly playable, but this is only an RTX 3060. So there's only so much you can expect from a 3060. $16.99 is the price, Matt Giller. You're bullying a 10-year-old. Oh my god. Are you CPU or GPU limited right now in Fortnite? Let me take a look at the Let me take a look at the replay. So we were hitting 93% GPU utilization at the parts that I'm looking at right now. So not quite perfect CPU utilization, but not bad. Um, so I think it's a mixture of CPU and GPU, like probably depending on what area you have it on, what area of the map you're in. But if it's if it's above 90, I tend to say um, you're more GPU limited. If it's below 90, you're typically more CPU limited, but it just depends. Okay, so we got average FPS of 34 and 17 for our 1% low. Carlos got home. Hooray. Okay, so QHD 34, 17. Let's turn RTX and DLSS off. So to me, that's a bit low for super playable frame rates. Like it's barely passable. Um, so you'd want to turn some of the settings down. And I'm right here. We're also you. This game needs a lot of VRAM. We only have 6 gigs of VRAM in this. So we're turning off RTX and DLSS. And let's see how we do now. Should have better performance now that those are off. Sup, bro? So mega. LOL. Hi, Brandon. What's your opinion on the ROG Zephyrus Duo 15, 3060, 5800H, 300 hertz for $2,100? Hmm. Um, if you really need a dual display on a more budget oriented, then that's probably a decent option. But just know that you're paying a lot extra for that dual display at that price point because you can get a lot more performance. You can get a lot more performance for 2100. You can get an RTX 3080 for that much, you know? Does your model have RAM with good timings? We're going to find out here in Shadow of the Tomb Raider. I'm not sure yet. I'll be right back. I'm going to say hi to Carla. Wouldn't DLSS on performance improve performance? Yes, it would. But I test it with RTX on max and DLSS on balance, and then I turn them off. Those are kind of the way I test it. So I test it the same way every time. Ooh. Okay, so what do we get? 42, 35. Uh, Not amazing. This really shows the limitations of the 3060, I think. You can only get so many FPS no matter what. I mean, we are doing QHD, right? So it's very demanding in QHD. You might even want to go down to full HD for this one. And I am going to do that right now. Test it out. So this right here is we'll put it on the screen. This is a Ensamada made by my fiance. She makes these and sells them. So yum yum. You sure you don't want me to say the link? If you're in the Portland area, you could buy them, I guess, but they're only sold locally. They are delicious though. Okay, so let's drop down to 1080. This will give me more comparable performance. But for example, with the Scar 15, I believe we were getting over 60 FPS with RTX and DLSS enabled with a 3080. So gives you an idea of the difference between a 3060 and a 3080s. Pretty noticeable when you're doing RTX and AAA games, you know? Okay, so we're going to test this with RTX up, and DLSS is on quality at 1080 whenever I do 1080 testing. Cool. Here we go. Mmm. Very nice. These are so good. A bit hard to eat without getting all messy, but they're so good. Does this game support DLSS? Yeah. The Watch Dogs Legion supports DLSS. I'm resetting the FPS here, so it's going again. What's the website, Carla? .store? Kumari.store is the website. What's that? Mm-hmm. I have people in chat from Portland. So this is probably playable. 45 FPS on average. Drop down to we're at 1080p with RTX and DLSS enabled. You say no differences even on 1080? That's not true because we're running RTX and DLSS now. Oops, I forgot to check what the number was there at the end. Okay, let me pull this up. We got 42 and 35. Oh wait, that's the last run, I think. 44 and 34. Okay. So full HD 44 and 34. That's I think that's in line with what I would expect for a 3060 to do. So very interesting. You had the G15 and the quality control sucks, so I'd recommend waiting for the Legion 7. I mean, it sounds like you just got a bad unit. I still have the Zephyrus G15. Carla's using it now. She has had no problems with it as far as I know. So, okay. Here we go. What's next on the test list? Shadow of the Tomb Raider is next. Here we go. Direct Strike, this is a all stock. No overclocks, though I did overclock the Timespy score on the first run. Highest settings, high. All of this looks good. There we go. All right, let's see what we get with QHD. Emmett, I don't think so. Not that I know of, but I'm not sure. Okay, so taking a look here, right now we are extremely GPU bound. 99% utilization on the GPU. With this game, I think we're probably going to be mainly GPU bound mostly, I bet. Well, especially at QHD resolution, we're definitely going to be GPU bound the vast majority of the time. So this maybe is not, until we switch it to 1080p, it won't be a good indicative measure of the memory timings, I don't think. I am not using a cooler. This is all set to performance mode. So no max fans this time because there's not an option for it. Otherwise, I would be using max fans. And yeah, the temperatures are looking pretty good. This is 1440p, 165 hertz. And the difference between 165 hertz and 144 hertz is very minimal. Good thing with 1440, you can always turn games to 1080p if you need. Yes, but some games look noticeably worse when you turn them down. Mainly looking at you, Warzone. So, I mean, I think this will be able to play games at QHD resolution, or a lot of games, but certain games you'll definitely need to turn down the settings to like medium or high and not run it on ultra, or like turn off RTX, for example. It's kind of my impression right now. I got the Legion 5 Pro with 3060, but I'm in EU. Currently watching the stream on it. I am fine with performance, but I gotta say the fans ramp up sometimes at random when utilization is very low, below 20%. Interesting. Yeah, a lot of laptops do that. They like pretty much turn the laptop fans completely off, and then they like the temperatures go up obviously because the fans are completely off, and then they're like, "Oh, we're gonna ramp the fans to turn the temperatures down," and they don't have a good balanced steady point, between the two, which is I much prefer it when you have like a good balance where there's a little bit of fan noise going all the time rather than it going up and down. Because when it's a little bit on, you just drown it out, you don't even notice it. But when it's spiking up, you're just like really annoyed by the fan noise, right? Major Sheldon. So, for example, in Call of Duty Warzone, when you go down to 1080, it'll be noticeably less visual quality because it doesn't upscale very well. So we got 68 FPS in QHD, highest possible settings. That's obviously going to be very playable. Let's see here. So QHD, we got 68. Let's drop it to 1080p and see what we get. This will be the mode where we're going to be CPU bound a little bit more. And also, we're going to be able to compare it with the performance of other RTX 3060 laptops, which I will pull that up here in a second when we get done. Let me go ahead and get to the graph. There we are. So the previous 3060 that I've tested, the most recent one, was the Zephyrus G14 with RTX 3060 for $14.99. and it got 85 FPS. That's a low TDP watt, only 80 watts, 60 to 80 watts on the TDP on that one. And no mux switch either. So we're definitely hoping to get more than 85 on average. The first test is one of the harder ones. The second one's where it gets a little bit easier. So it might be between the Legion 5 versus 5 Pro. What's better? It would depend on the configurations for me. I just need to, I need to actually like, when people talk 5 Pro, Legion 5, Legion 7, I'm like, well, give me the actual price points and configuration so I can compare them more closely. I don't understand why Lenovo only put the Ryzen 9 into the 3080 model. Yeah, not sure. Maybe Lenovo will come out with more variety. Would not be surprised because they had lots of variety for the Intel 10th gen. Maybe they're just doing the Ryzen ones first. Look at that, 148, 145. It's very good. But you can see how we've become CPU bound in this section of the test. We're only at 85% GPU utilization. So we're not like hard lock CPU bound, but we're close. And so that's what this is where like in moments like that, that's where your memory timings will be able to boost FPS noticeably. And that's also where like the Intel 11th gen really shines in those more CPU bound scenarios of this game. I think we're going to end up with a nice boost to the FPS here compared to the Zephyrus. What did we get? All right, our average was 99 FPS. All right, I'm making up the graph here, and then I'll show you guys. Lenovo Legion 7, 1699. RTX 3060, 125 watt, Ryzen 7 5800H. Cool. All right, and let's see here. So we got 99. Let me add it to this as well. 99. Okay, and now I do this, and I can show you the graph. Okay, so here is the graph. I don't want to play it. Let's see here. Okay, so the Legion 7 is right here. It's actually doing really well for a 3060 laptop. I need to take a couple of these out of here because it's too many labels here on the left. But you can see that the Zephyrus G14 for $14.99 only did 85, so it did 14 more FPS, and it even beat out some 3070 laptops here, like the Zephyrus G15 and Strix G17. But this is a very this is a game where a mux really helps a lot. So that's a part of the reason we're getting better performance in those laptops. Okay, cool. Guys, how's it performing? Pretty good. It did really well in esports games. Basically full performance in QHD resolution. And now we're getting into more of the AAA titles like Watch Dogs Legion, Cyberpunk, Red Dead Redemption, stuff like that. And next up, we have Far Cry 5. And Vladi says Aorus 15P 11th gen with 3070 or Legion 5 Pro 5800H 3070, same price. Which would you recommend? Um, I think I would go. Hmm. If you want a better display, go with the Legion 5 Pro. If you want better FPS and CPU bound games, go with the Aorus 15P. That's kind of the way I would think about it. So if you play a lot of esports titles, and also if you want a higher hertz refresh rate, the Aorus 15P I believe is a higher hertz refresh rate. But I have to take a look at more detailed spec comparison there. But I'm pretty sure the Legion lineup in general is going to always have a brighter, more vibrant display than the Aorus lineup. But the Aorus is going to have a higher hertz refresh rate. That's not always going to be the case, but at least on of the ones listed on the spreadsheet, it is the case, as far as I remember, if I'm remembering correctly. Okay, so here we are, Far Cry 5, full QHD 2560 by 1600. What's up, Akin? Welcome to the stream. Atlantic Trading. I bought the Scar 153080, 8 gig with 5800 full HD, but I could have gotten the 3070 with QHD for the same price. I really regret that decision. Oh yeah, I mean, I could see how some people would rather have the QHD and give up the extra GPU performance because it's not like a massive difference. So, yeah, I could see how some people would rather make the decision to go QHD over 1080.
평생 내가 할 줄 아는 것이라고 남편 옆에서 참고를 지키는 것뿐.
Yeah, I found that the 3080 performs like a Max P 3070. Found in other laptops hell slower than the GP 66 3070 and OS 15P 3070. Shouldn't have body scar 15. I think that depends on what game you play robotic, because if you play a lot of esports titles, having that mux switch will really boost your FPS. Um, if you play games like Cyberpunk, though, I think the Scar 15 will outperform that one, though. So it's gonna just your mileage will vary a lot. Okay, so we got 83 for Far Cry 5 QHD. 83. That's good. Obviously, plenty enough to play the game smoothly and really well. But I am really curious what we're going to get when we go to 16 by 9, 1080. There we go. All right, so this is the one where I can compare it and add it to my graph. Let's pull that up. Far Cry 5. Mm-hmm. Do. Oh man, this is looking pretty good. 97 FPS on average. For a 3060, this looks like some really good performance. So taking a look here, and keep in mind this is a very CPU bound game and favors Intel a little bit as well. Average FPS of 100 exactly. All right. I finished, I'm all prepped. Whoa, hello. Okay. So Far Cry 5, where are you? Down here. Far Cry 5. Okay, so the Legion 7 is right in line with uh, some of these laptops. Let's see here. I need to delete some old data here. Because the graph is now too long to display everything. Get rid of that one. There we go. Okay. So the Legion 7 get 100 FPS. It's tied with the G15 with a 3070 80 watt, and tied with the RTX 2080 Max Q M15R2. So that's very good, especially considering the Zephyrus G15 is a little bit priced higher than the Legion 7. Right, it's $150 more, getting the same FPS, and again that's partially because of the mux switch. And then keep in mind, again, CPU-bound games with Intel tend to push out a little bit of FPS still. So, but for a 3060, I feel like this is solid performance that we're getting compared to the other laptops. That's good. Okay, let's go ahead and hop back over to the next test. So we got 100 FPS. Let me add that to the benchmark. Chart, and it looks like CSGO is our next test. Okay, so this one, again, tends to favor Intel, but we've got a mux switch, and it definitely needs a mux switch with Ryzen laptops. So I'm expecting great performance for this machine in CSGO. We'll see. These high-end laptops sell out so fast, except for Razer laptops. Yeah, it's true. Small differences between the 5900HX and 5800H. Yeah, Bogdan, I think the 5900HX versus 5900H is more about how the manufacturer sets it up, because even a 5900HX that has a lower TDP will be outperformed by a 5800H with a high TDP. So it all depends on the chassis and the TDP and the thermal solution. Uh, Full screen. Okay. All of those look good. So we're going to test QHD first. Here we go. I bought the Scar, but the Lenovo is killing it this year. Yeah, I think so too. The Scar ended up being a bad buy if you could wait a bit. I don't know. I don't think it's a bad buy, Robotic Venom. I don't. I disagree. I think the Scar 15 is a good buy, even still. But it just depends on what your needs are. Obviously, if you're an esports player, getting a laptop with a Mux or Advanced Optimus is a big advantage. Um, so, but even if you don't have a, even though it doesn't have a Mux, it's still putting out really good performance in those games. So it's not like it's like awful, you know. Like yeah, like for example, in my Scar 15, if I play Apex Legends, um, CS:GO or Fortnite, like I'm easily above 165 hertz, so it doesn't really matter. The Mux is irrelevant at that point. But if I play Warzone, I feel like I am missing out a little bit because I could get another 10 to 20 FPS if I had a Mux on it. If you just play Arc and WoW, I mean, you don't really even need that crazy of a computer to play that, Velati. So right now we're hitting 240 FPS, 250. We're going to get into smoke and it should drop down to 150, 120, 90, 80, 60, 50, 40, 30, 40, 30, 60, 500. Man, CSGO has some serious FPS dips in the smoke. It's crazy. Now we're over 500, consistently over 500 there. Intel can benefit from better RAM too, Robotic Venom. Um, but Ryzen laptops are more sensitive, I believe, by a bit. But Need to do more tests on that. Okay, so we got 270.93. 270.93. So easily hitting our FPS cap. Easily filling up our FPS on 165 hertz display. So 270, and that's with a QHD. And then let's do full HD. 16 by 9. Okay. Okay. It it did some funky things to get that to look correctly. Okay, so we've got some black bars. This is the first time so far that we've had black bars on a game that we've tested, I believe. Black bars on the top and bottom in CSGO. Let's see what we get with full HD here now. Hopefully it's a bit better. What's up, Arnold? Welcome to the stream. I just don't understand why Asus would set the TDP to 130 when other brands are doing 150 with similar chassis. I don't know about 150, because even so, I know that like the electronics Mech G15 or Mech 15 G3 advertises as 150, but like when Jared's Tech actually reviewed it, uh, under a typical game load, I think it was only sitting like 135 or something like that, 137, in that ballpark range. So even though it says 150, like those are only maybe under temporary loads, you know. So I think it's just, and I could be wrong. Maybe there's some games where I can actually hit consistently 150. But I've got that laptop in the box over there, so we'll be able to check that out in more detail coming up very soon with a live unboxing and a live benchmarking. Uh, Now, the other manufacturers that were doing higher TDPs, which I do think this is better. The GE66 and GP66 were doing a base wattage of 125 watts, and that extra 10 watts is noticeable in performance. So I do wish they had pushed at least to 125 or maybe even 130 as the base wattage, but to be able to do that, I think they would have to give out a bigger power adapter. So maybe that was part of their reasoning. I'm not sure. Let's see what we get in CS:GO. 318.6. 318.6 for CS:GO Full HD. So 319. Um, that's good. It's not bad at all, but just know that you can get noticeably more for your money in CS:GO in particular if you go with Intel 11th gen. And I'm curious also if memory here is a limiting factor because I was expecting at least a little bit more, like closer to 350 in full HD. Okay. CS:GO's done. Flight Simulator. Can 3060 Legion do 4K gaming? Um, if you're willing to really trim down the settings in certain titles, maybe. So, like if you wanted to play Cyberpunk in 4K, yeah, maybe on low with RTX off and DLSS on ultra performance or something, and lighter weight titles. Obviously, like you could easily play CS:GO on 4K, no problem, or Fortnite, or probably Apex Legends. You can play a lot of games with 4K uh, with this laptop, but you're gonna be obviously at a lot lower frame rate than you would be at QHD or Full HD. Anyways, I bought the 3080 mainly to flex. The games I play don't really need it. There you go, Johnny Woo. It's all about the flex. Who cares about the actual performance, right? Yeah, it's got a 3080 in it. So this should be all downloaded if it's not I'm gonna skip the benchmark on this, but I checked it earlier today. There we go. Okay. Robotic Venom, I don't know why you're saying it's not a real Alienware. You're saying that the M15 is not a real Alienware like the R4. They took low-end Dell G series gaming laptop and repackaged it. I would disagree. I feel like the build quality is actually really good on the M15 R5. Um, it's weighty. It's metal. It feels really good, but I would agree with the TDP, and I think the TDP issue is because of how thin it is. It's an inverted motherboard, and I can't see the heat pipes in there, but I almost guarantee you the CPU does not have enough heat pipes on it. Um, it's because we were getting mediocre performance with the M15R5, at least in Cinebench. So uh, I would compare the M15R5 more so to something like the Zephyrus G15 because it's like that same thinness level. If it was thicker, something more like the GE or GP76 or SCAR 15, then I would hope for a higher TDP. Now, the nice thing about the M15R5 is that it does have 125 watt, or I think it was 125 watt. It was higher than 100 for sure. GPU TDP. So I think that's the main advantage to the M15R5 over something like the Zephyrus. So we'll set this to 1 p.m. Clear skies, PDX runway, cool. Let's fly. And I'll have to check the settings too, because the settings need to make sure we're on ultra. So the Zephyrus G15 is 100 watt versus the Legion 7 125 watt. It's not 80 watt for the G15. That makes the performance look worse and the gap way larger. Thanks. Thanks, Robotic Venom. The Zephyrus G15 is 80 watt base, 80 to 100 watts. And yeah, I got to make sure that those are correct on the graphs. Let me check it. Do you know which graph you're talking? Was it like Far Cry 5, or was it all of them? Yeah, it looks like it got pasted wrong on a lot of them, but it's up to 100 watts. I'll have to change that for the Zephyrus. But thanks for pointing that out. Do you have recommendation for a laptop around 2500? What's your size and what games are you going to play, Joyce? You got to give me a little more details. Like, do you want a 15 inch, a 14 inch, a 17 inch? And then um, there's our options. General. Is it general? I think it's general. So we're going to do QHD first. We're going to turn off the FPS limiter. We're going to scale to 100%. And we're going to set to ultra. Apply and save. Yeah, robotic. It needs to be consistently. I agree. The graphs need to have the range in there, so it needs to say the full range. So like 80 to 125, or 80 to 100, or 115 to 125, whatever the actual full range is. I agree with you. I just need to set that. I need to take some time and revamp the graphs. It's going to take a couple hours to go through and change all of them though, and find all the data. I believe right now the idea is to set it to the max TDP potential. Okay, so this game is insanely demanding. I feel like I should start benchmarking this at slightly different settings so that we're getting closer to 60 FPS, because it's so CPU limited. I should try to find some medium settings or light settings that would allow Flight Simulator to be higher FPS and start testing at those settings. But this is what all my data is at, the way I've been testing previously. So 23 FPS, very not amazing as it is with almost every laptop on the market, because it's very low FPS in this game. Okay, so 2312. Damn, those frames are painful. Yeah, I know, right? Okay, so we'll restart, and we're going to drop down to 1080p, but 2312 is our QHD resolution. Result. $23.12. No blame or anything, as there are a lot of laptops on there, so it's confusing. It actually doesn't need to have a range necessarily, but just use the max TDP, including boost for each one. Yeah, it needs to be the same at least. For sure, it needs to be consistently the same. Either it's the max TDP or the base TDP, one or the other. But I think it makes more sense to do the range if possible, so people get the full idea. At least if I was looking to buy a laptop, I'd want to see the range. It's kind of my ideal setup. Okay. Here we are, 1080p on ultra settings. Let's see what we get now. The hype man. All the Legions with the RTX 2060s are sold out at Best Buy, and they only have the ones with the 1660 Ti's. Are those any good? Yeah, those are pretty good still, but maybe not for the price. That's the thing. Like, they're not a bad laptop, but if they cost $1,200, you don't want to get a 1660 Ti. Like, I would only pay probably 800 or less for a 1660 Ti. Because if it's like 1,000 or more, if it's more than 800, you're better off just saving a little more and getting a 3060 instead. Remember when I said fans on the Legion 5 ramp up randomly? Just did it again, and the air is pushing out below ambient temperature. It feels cold. LOL. They really need to set it. Wow, we're getting even less FPS at 1080p. What is going on? This game is ridiculous. That's hilarious. What did we get last time? Was it 20? We got 2312, and this time we got 1910. Okay, we're gonna leave it there, but that's funky fine. I'm curious, which settings do I have to mess with to get this thing to like if I go down to high end, what does that give us? What's our frame rate on high end? It went down to 15, 15 FPS. That is it's just, this game is so poorly optimized. It's hilarious. Okay, what's our next game? Our next game is Rainbow Six Siege. Here we go. Microsoft Flight Sim is so GPU bound that sometimes reduces performance. It's insane. Yeah, CPU bound. So CPU bound, not GPU. But yeah. What is the price of this laptop? Argent Tech. This laptop should be $16.99 in the U.S. Near the end of June. It's not released yet in the United States. Hey man, can you check if the speakers are working on the laptop? A lot of the Legion 7s are having issues with one of the speakers not working properly. Thank you. Let's check it out. Let's see what the sound sounds like too. Mm. Speakers sound great. The keyboard does rattle or vibrate a bit because of all the bass, but very nice speakers, I will say. They get quite loud, very clear. Mids and highs are reasonably clear, and there is some bass to it too. I got mine yesterday, and I'm having the left speaker rattle a lot. Interesting. Maybe you could try taking the bottom off and making sure it's attached really well. You know, making sure that the speaker is like mounted properly, because it could be rattling because it's not fully mounted. Okay, so we want render scaling to be 100%. And now we want, we'll do 1080. We'll do 1080 first. And then we'll do QHD after. All right. And here we go. Hey, Brandon, the Dell sales advised that the Alienware R5 doesn't have an integrated GPU and just has the GPU 3060. Is that correct? I thought the AMD 5800H has integrated graphics. Arnaldo Adolfo, sometimes the salespeople just don't know what they're talking about because it obviously has an integrated GPU or you wouldn't have Advanced Optimus. So, but that said, it may vary from configuration to configuration because my unit definitely has it. I know that on some of the Alienware M15 and M17 R4s, some of those did not have access to the integrated GPU. Though I think the integrated CPU had, like the actual Intel CPU had an integrated GPU, you just couldn't use it. It would just bypassed it. Um, it went like it was a direct connection with no Optimus and no graphics switching at all. And there may be some versions of the R5 that are like that, but as far as I know, that is not the case. I think all of them have either Optimus or Advanced Optimus. And if it says it has Optimus in some fashion, that means that it definitely has an integrated GPU of some kind that you can switch to for better FPS or a better battery life, I mean. Okay, 264 for our 1080p result. That is solid. Obviously great for this laptop. You're going to hit your max frame rate really well. Rainbow Six Siege 264, and now we're going to do QHD. Let's see if we can average above 165 FPS with at 1600p. I want to see you play Minecraft FPS. Jose or play, you'll be able to play Minecraft. Don't worry, it'll be all right. Love the G14, but the GPU is just at 60 watts. Yeah. Robotic Venom speakers on the 5 Pro are garbo, in my opinion, not going to lie. Interesting. Yeah, Robotic says the speakers on the Legion 7 are better than on the Legion 5 Pro, most noticeably in the bass and mids department. Interesting. Yeah, that seems like the big thing that separates like the more budget laptops versus the higher end laptops is like the bass and the mids are just way better. Oftentimes the highs still sound about the same or like, they're like decent on all of the laptops. Very few laptops have bad highs. It's just hard to get clarity in the mids and lows without having better, like larger watt speakers, I think. 40 ounce. This laptop should be $16.99. At least this configuration of the unit. So we averaged 167. Perfect. Um, very nice. So 167 FPS on all highest settings. So you could obviously boost that FPS by dropping the settings down a little bit. but very impressive. Again, for a RTX 3060 laptop, this thing's going to do esports really, really well. Like, there's yet to be an esports game that it didn't play well at QHD. Even Warzone did pretty well. Witcher 3 is next. In CSGO, CPU is more important. Yeah, with CSGO, you really want to have a good CPU, a mux switch, and fast memory. And then you don't need that powerful of a GPU. Even an RTX 3060 should be able to put up like 300 FPS. At least mostly. Easily really high FPS, like 200 plus. But it will vary from map to map and how much smoke people throw. Whenever people throw smoke, it just kills the FPS in that game. So we said it's ultra, hairworks off. This is QHD. Oh, and post processing, we set to high. Ultra, hairworks off. Okay, cool. All right, so this is QHD. Let us let's load in. Um, your your camera's autofocus is going crazy. Is it? Okay, thanks for the heads up. It does that. The autofocus will go crazy when the stuff on the screen switches, um, and it doesn't have anything to focus on that it seeks. Definitely get a lot of little micro stutters coming into The Witcher 3. Every time you load in, it does that. But once you've loaded in the map zone, it likes much smoother. Wow, FPS 1600. Yeah, major gains. All right, so here we go. Let's get our Witcher 3 test going here. Okay, so not amazing performance in Witcher 3. Then again, we are in QHD. I was kind of thinking along the lines of 1080p, like what the GP66 did. GP66 with a 3070 did like, was it like 140 FPS or something? So, where this one is like doing 80 in QHD, so it's kind of understandable though, because we're jumping up to QHD. All right, so we got 7768 on all ultra settings except for Hairworks, which is good. Okay, I mean it's good for a 3060. Obviously, it's playable. I guess that's what I'm saying when it says it's good. Um, let's switch to full HD and we'll be able to actually do more comparison. All right, load back. Isn't 80 FPS pretty nice? Yes, it's sorry, I'm a little scatterbrained right now. I get tired doing these long live streams. I end up speaking out of turn. Um, it's obviously great FPS to play the game. 88 FPS on all ultra settings, QHD. You're gonna have a great time playing Witcher 3 at those settings. Um, but what I'm saying is not amazing is because uh, for the money, you can get an RTX 3070 that'll push easily over 100 FPS at the same settings. Does that make sense? That's what I'm saying. In QHD, it'll push over 100 FPS, and we're only getting 88 or whatever that was. Obviously, it's still a great performance in the game. I'm talking about general performance compared to your price per dollar value, basically, in the game. All right, here we go. 1080p testing. Like I think the GP66 did like what was it, like 140 or 150 FPS in this same exact test. And that laptop only costs $200 more than this one. So that's like a 40% performance gain. But you obviously there's a lot of trade-offs with the GP66 versus a machine like this with a really good display. RTX 4000 mobile will play on laptops in 4K. I mean, we're already doing that with the RTX 3000, but it's kind of, in my opinion, 4K is completely overkill. You'll never notice the detail increase. Okay, so we got 102, 102.87. Okay. Okay. Yeah, so I mean, it's not bad performance. You can easily, that's obviously great performance in a lot of ways. It's just not as much performance for your dollar in that game, if that makes sense. What model, by the way? Everything I want is out of stock. Corey P. Okay, if you had $1,800 to spend and didn't want to go over two after tax, what's the best laptop for Modern Warfare and best looking screen? Battery life, I don't care about. Hmm. So for $18.99, Corey, the MSI GP66 and the Asus, the Aorus 15P, I think both of those are $18.99, and with tax, it'd be right at 2K, I believe. Those are probably your best Warzone gaming machines, probably, or at least close to it, because they have Muxes and Intel 11th Gen for that price. If you want to go for exactly $1,800, the Intel 10th Gen Aorus 15G has is $17.99, and that one I think is still being sold. So that would be an option that's a little cheaper. Okay, so we're going to start out with 1600p resolution, so max res. Max this up. 165, full screen, VSync off. Triple buffering off. I think triple buffering always stays on no matter what you do. Okay. And we hit yes, and then we restart the game to make sure the settings. What would you buy this week with $1,800 for the premium laptop Modern Warfare? Yeah, okay. I think I already answered that, but that's basically, are these 3070 laptops I mentioned bad investment for future-proofing giving games WoW and Arc? Uh, Velati, okay. I'm trying to figure out where you mentioned it, Velati. Where did you mention it? Was it like a long time ago? Okay. Alert. Are you sure you want to go to? Yes, we restart the game. Okay. Here we go. Red Dead Redemption 2. That was about the Aorus 15P and Legion 5 Pro. Okay. Are these 3070 laptops mentioned bad investment for future proofing, given the games I play, WoW and Arc? No, those two laptops, the Aorus 15P and the GP66, will play WoW and Arc like extremely well. Forever. For the most part, I mean, as far as I know, you'll be permanently future proofed for those. As long as the laptop doesn't break, you'll be good to go for a long, long time. What's the price of leptin? I don't know. What's the price of leptin? You tell me. I'm pretty sure you mean Legion. 16.99. What config would I buy for the 15p? Um, I would have to there's only a handful of configs, but I would probably go with the 3070 config, probably. But if I was going with the GP66, going to the 3080 config is not as bad because you get 10 more watts of GPU power, I believe. So if you spring for like the $2,300 GP66, I think that's a decent investment for a 3080 laptop. Okay, I'm pressing the wrong buttons. Graphics and then run benchmark. Okay, here we go. Can you test CSGO with 720 resolution? Why would I test CSGO with that resolution, Raphael? Are you like an extreme CSGO expert that like you like lower the resolution so there's less pixels that you have to aim between so you can more easily hit headshots? Like I know that used to be a thing for CSGO. People play on like 640 by 480 so they could like aim better, which is like so absurd to me. So having only 1200 is pretty much pointless to get into PC gaming for Warzone then. So just go with Xbox, eh? No, if you have 1200, you can still get good Warzone performance. Um, you could still get like 80 to 90 FPS, I think, with a 1200-ish dollar laptop. Like the HP Omen 15Z should probably still get like probably 80 to 100 FPS, probably somewhere in that range for around 1200. The Gigabyte G5 should also get around that. So depends. Arnold Adolfo with the bunny hopping cheat on CS back in 90s. Little macro to do the bunny hop. I used to do the mouse wheel bunny hop in CS 1.6. What's your favorite thin and light gaming laptop? Probably the Aorus G15 or G14 is right up there for my thin and lights. If you want esports gaming performance, the GS66, the Alienware M15R5, those are all very thin and light. I get 30 FPS at 720p with the lowest possible settings in CS:GO. Man, you are rocking it. 30 FPS. Dang. In CS:GO, man, it's a powerful machine. What's your let's see here. I think you already said it. I don't know why, but I play better with low resolution and I use an external 240 hertz monitor at 720p. Oh my God. It's funny. Are there any cheap gaming laptop recommendations? A little over 1,000. So Argent Tech, the Gigabyte G5 used to be 1,100. That was awesome. I mean, if you really have a tight budget at like right at 1,000, probably the MSI GF65 with an RTX 3060 is probably your best bet at right at 1,000. Or you could go with a more balanced system that's like more premium with something like a 1660 Ti. Like you get like a Legion 5 1660 Ti for around 1,000, or that's not great. But I'd rather go with a. I feel like the better price to performance values are like the HP Omen 15Z. I think was like 1,050 when it was on sale. Um, about 2 days, 3 days ago, it was on sale for like $70 off from 120 down to 1050. I had it in my discount sections on my spreadsheet, and it was a pretty fantastic deal, I think. Yo Gizmo, Scar 17 is available on Gentech PC, but the QHD is shorted. Should I get the full HD? Um, if I was buying a 17-inch laptop right now, Raymond, I would definitely go with the QHD, because it is a noticeably better experience in my opinion. But if you don't have particularly great eyesight, like let's say you use glasses, uh, if if you normally use glasses, but when you play video games you don't or something, and you can't really see the super fine details, then you probably won't notice the difference. I don't know. Uh, like I've got like 2016 vision, so like really good vision. So I definitely can see a lot of the details that maybe some people can't, but it'll make a difference going to the QHD. Sadly, Omen is now 1,300. Did they bump the price? Like if they did, let me, I have to check. They had it. They may be sold out right now on their cheapest unit on the Omen 15Z. Um, let me do a little quick check here. We're seeing great GPU utilization, and also notice we're pulling 125 watts nonstop in Red Dead Redemption right now. Okay, so 1269. Yeah, looks like they bumped the price on the Element 15Z right after they did a sale on it. Why would they do that? I don't know. That's interesting. Huh. With only 8 gigs of RAM, it's 1269. I have to update my prices now. Okay, so we got 5647. 5647. Interesting. Very I think that's obviously good enough to play the game on Ultra and have a great experience for Red Dead. Um Not sure how that would stack up versus other machines, but I think that's decent. It's solid. Okay, full HD now. Let's go. So I can. This is one of the games I'll do comparisons with. I'll add to my chart here, and you can check it out. Okay, so let's drop it down to 1080. I really like that we didn't have to change the resolution of the Windows desktop resolution because Red Dead Redemption sometimes is funky when you change the resolution down. It like becomes like a sub window. So I like that. It's like I guess a driver issue that must have been fixed. What's 2016 vision? So 2020 is average, like good vision. 2016 is actually above average vision. It means that you can see more detail than average at distance, I believe is the idea. Uh, Gizmo, this definitely has more room to improve due to that RAM. I've seen 5800H Timespy scores going as high as 10,500 with better RAM. Yeah, I believe that original creator. That's certainly a possibility. I It's hard to know with Shadow of the Tomb Raider this time around because I haven't tested enough 3060s to know if we're being, you know, limited by the memory very much. I feel like with a 3070 and 3080, you'll be limited more bound by the CPU, but maybe with the 3060, you don't hit that CPU bound nature as much because the GPU is just not as powerful. Do I have a review for the Legion 5 Pro? No, I don't, Meliodas, but my understanding of the Legion 5 Pro is that it's a solid bang for the buck that's very competitive with like the best deals out there for the most part if you get it at stock retail pricing. Yo, I want to buy the Asus Tough Dash F15. Can it run Red Dead Redemption 2 on Ultra or high? Yeah, you'll be able to run Red Dead Redemption on at 1080p on Ultra probably. No problem. It's not like the downside of the Tough Dash F15 is the CPU performance, and Red Dead Redemption is very GPU bound, not CPU bound. So you should be good to go with that game, at least. If I get the full HD Scar 17, and since Scars don't have mux, won't get QHD screen, bypass mux issue, and provide good res. Uh, so with the full HD Scar 17, you sadly won't be matching. With the 300 hertz full HD Scar 17, you won't even hit 300 hertz in most of the CPU bound games that you normally would be able to hit 300 hertz if you had a mux switch. So that's another downside to the Scar 17 with 300 hertz display full HD. Like when you're shooting for only 165 FPS QHD, it's a lot easier to hit that without a mux switch. I'm in the Legion Discord community, and people with 3060 can get around 110, 112 with better RAM. Okay, that's good to know, original creator. You know if the Ryzen 7 5800H is better than the i7 10750H for games? Yeah, for the vast majority of games, the Ryzen 7 5800H will be better. But the i7 10750H might be better in like single or dual threaded games. But honestly, both of those CPUs will be good enough for the vast majority of games. So, does the screen become blurry if you set it at 1920 by 1080? Uh, Only a little bit. You only lose a little bit of detail. But it would be a lot better if I was doing 1920 by 1200, which is 16 by 10 aspect ratio. But I'm doing this 1080p resolution, so I can do fair GPU benchmark comparison. And that probably makes it a little extra blurry, comparatively speaking. I have not tested the RAM timings yet, no. But we did test Shadow of the Tomb Raider, and apparently, according to the original creator, that we should be able to get like about 10 FPS more if we had faster RAM. 7256 so far. That's I feel like that's really good for a 3060. I feel like that's really solid for a 3060. And I guess it's partially because we're hitting that high TDP cap. So 7257. Very nice. So let me go ahead and load that into my benchmark comparison chart here. We can take a look at how that stacks up with the other laptops on the market. Where is my Red Dead Redemption? There it is. Okay. I was like, it's gone. So 72. And I think I can still just paste. Yes. Okay. Um, so here is our performance. You can see the Legion 7 right here. 1699, 72 FPS. Very good performance. Almost beating the Zephyrus G15 with a 3070. Beating the GS66 Stealth with a 3070 by 4 FPS. Beats the Razer Blade Pro 17 2080 Super Max Q GE66 2080 Super. Very nice performance in Red Dead Redemption 2. Really taking advantage of that 125 watt GPU in the RTX 3060. Could you guys see that the whole time? I think you could, right? I did that correctly. Sorry. Okay. Okay, what's the next game? Cyberpunk. Gotta love me some Cyberpunk. Wow, this performance is very good. Yeah, I agree. I think that's very good performance in Red Dead Redemption 2. And I think at 1080p, Red Dead Redemption 2, or perhaps Cyberpunk, is the most GPU bound game currently out of my benchmarking suite, like just pure GPU performance. We're at least hitting very close to the max TDP because it needs very little CPU. So we're hitting that 125 watts, and then we're hitting like 99% GPU utilization at the same time, at least for a lot of it. Well, I can't. Why we can't find 2080 Super Max P anymore? So Shadowform, as I do my benchmarks, I have to take off old laptops and add in the new ones. It's just part of my charts can only have so many um, things on the charts, sadly. Okay, full screen 1600p. For 1600p, we do RTX on Ultra and DLSS on Balanced. Okay, and very nice. I've called the Lenovo sales team, but no one will disclose the US price point for the 3065 Pro. Yeah, Emmett, I don't know what it is either. I know the Gigabyte G5 is better, but could you say that the Asus Tough Dash F15 has acceptable redemption? I'm not sure what you mean, Juan. Redemption. I'm like acceptable performance. Like I think like if you're just a casual gamer, I think the Tough Dash is like not horrible. You know what I mean? Like, but it's just far from it's far from my top recommendation for someone who's very like performance oriented, you know? But for other people that are like, they don't really care about getting absolute max peak performance, it's a decent over all arounder. You get thin, you get light, good price, good general use laptop, great battery life, good keyboard and decent trackpad, all for 1149. So, as a casual gamer, I think it's one that I can recommend to casual people. But for people that just want to have the most FPS in their competitive esports game or to have the most longevity, I recommend a higher TDP and an 8-core CPU. But that's also going to generally cost you at least closer to $1,300, $1,400 to get into that type of machine. Okay, so for Cyberpunk right now we're hitting 3934 so far. Our GPU utilization is very good at 98. We're in QHD resolution now, 1600p, and we're hitting 124 watts, which is very good. Okay, so we got 4034 for our first run. And we're going to drop this down to 1080p and check that out as well. And we're going to load into a couple other areas of the game for Cyberpunk. Okay, so QHD was 4034. And then we're going to do full HD. And that's a bit low in my mind, especially since this is a little bit easier of a part of the map to run. Like and a lot of the other parts of the map in the game, you're going to see a little bit lower FPS. So to me at least, I'm guessing you're going to need to drop this down to QHD or full HD resolution, or um, you're going to have to drop some of the other settings if you want like a really smooth gameplay experience, like 60 FPS. And in games where I'm like doing a lots of aiming, I really prefer to have like 60 FPS as like the base amount. Okay, so now for my test at 1080p, I always switch to quality on DLSS. See what we get now. 51. This is definitely going to be a lot more playable throughout the game. Hey, are there any black bars while playing? There is currently no black bars, even though I'm doing 1080p 16 by 9. It's going to vary from game to game. Some of the games, like CSGO, had black bars. But that's only if you set it to 1080p and not 1980 by 1200. If you set it to 1980 by 1200, you won't have the black bars. I don't know when the ORS 15P will be available in UAE. Okay, let's see here. So 5141. 5141. Very nice. So I think the full H playing at full HD will be very nice. Um, if I were to set this to settings that I think are like kind of optimal, I'd probably go for something like 20. I want to do native resolution almost always if I can, because it's going to be crispier. So I'd probably go down to performance or ultra performance before I try dropping the res. You know. So now we're at 47. Let's load into some combat areas of the game. Let's see here. Here we go. So we're right now we're on QHD with DLSS on performance. And it might even be worth going down to ultra performance, but then you do get quite a few more of those jaggy artifacts from DLSS. This is really good for a 3060. Yeah, I would expect this to do really well for a 3060 because of the high TDP on the 3060. I'm obviously aiming pretty well because we're getting smooth FPS with very low dips. Our 1% lows are very reasonable. Let me see if I can get a new average going here. So we're hitting right around 43 FPS right now on average. So that's not bad, but I prefer to get closer to 60. So if we were to change things a little more, let's just try going to ultra performance and see what we get. Okay, so now we're hitting 60, and it definitely feels smoother when aiming. 51, 55 average so far. 54. Yeah, I would probably. This is probably the settings I'd play this game at. Probably. This is a great experience right here. Um, that said, you could also drop it to 1200p, like 1920 by 1200, and then just set DLSS to quality. You might get about the same FPS. Um, okay, let's load into the last scene that I always test. Where is it? It's right. I have so many saves. I think it's right here. There it is. Okay. Scapo with the $5 super chat. Thanks so much. Did you know that Bungee gum has properties of both rubber and gum? Here's a copy. Thanks, Scapo. LOL. That's a Hisoka reference. Yes. Hunter x Hunter. Uh, such a great anime. If you need an anime to watch, Hunter x Hunter is amazing. Okay, so look at this. We're getting 70 FPS. Again, we're at QHD right now. Ultra performance, DLSS on ultra performance, RTX on ultra. Still, yeah. This is definitely going to be a very playable experience in general. I think for most people, even at QHD and RTX 3060 doing QHD RTX gaming. What is this? Oh, that hurt. Oh gosh. Okay, very nice. And let's kill this guy, and we'll be done with Cyberpunk. Um, I'm very impressed with this laptop's performance right now in Cyberpunk. And that's without any overclocking. You can get another 5-10% if you overclock this thing. What do you guys think? That's very impressive, I think. What's the best performance laptop you've had so far? Probably the GE 76. Last game that we're testing for today is Valorant. So I need to install Valorant. I usually don't install it until I test it because it installs like this anti-cheat thing that just runs in the background all the time. So kind of annoying, but it's a popular game, so I test it anyway. I don't even need to log in because it doesn't matter. We have to restart the machine anyway. Um, Sad stream almost ending. Yeah, well, I need to try to keep these live streams as concise and as interesting as possible. So I'm trying to move through the games quickly and improve them, improve upon them. Each time I do them. Like this time, I went through and opened not all of them, but most of the games I opened up and tried to set some of the settings ahead of time. I didn't test them because I want to keep it like fresh up when I go into the live stream, but um, that way, it's like a more seamless experience for the live stream viewers and for any people watching the VOD. Yeah, so Ricardo, Sammy, the highest performance laptops I've tested so far. Any GPU bound games, the GE76 has been my highest performance. And then for CPU bound games, the GP66 with the Intel 11th gen has topped out my charts in a number of titles. And I'm thinking the very best gaming CPU is going to be the i9-11980HK with a really high TDP. I bought the Giga 5 G5 at your recommendation with the 144 hertz for 1150. Still a good deal. So that's a new version of the G5 with a lower quality display, I believe. So that would be the only downside, I think, really to that laptop, J Marl. But I think it has a new updated CPU, if I recall correctly. But for me, I think the older G5 with a 240 hertz display is a higher color gamut, faster response display. So I think I would rather have that one still um, because of the higher quality display. That said, as far as like the lower like mid-tier budgets around that price point, that's probably still close to the very best option you can get, Jeremiah, for under 1200. Still, I still think it's a good deal. Just know that the display may have some ghosting, and it may also. I don't think it's a super high color gamut display. That's the main downsides to it. Intel's showcase is in an hour. Ooh, are they launching a new product? I think they were doing 10th gen 10 nanometer desktop CPUs. I saw someone say that they've posted info on them on their spec pages, but they hadn't officially announced them. Yeah, thanks. It gets pretty warm, but all good. Thanks so much for the info. Yeah, Jay Morrow. Sam Y. Hey Gizmo, how do you think the i9-11900H is going to balance the low wattage of the RTX 3070 inside the M16? Do you plan to live benchmark this one? So Sam Y, that's one of the laptops that is very highly anticipated, and I want to do my live streams with it and everything. We'll see if I can get access to it or not. Um, if it's not sold out, I may pick one up to do reviews. The main thing is I need to not be overloaded with laptops at the time, or Asus needs to send me one. Those are kind of the two requirements. And then either I'll buy one or Asus will send me one for me to review. But how is it going to balance it? I don't know yet. I'm not sure how the i9-11900H is going to perform. Um, I'm hoping it'll have a little bit better performance than the 1100H. You would think it would, but it seems like the i9-1100H is kind of like it's being put into really thin light laptops. So I'm afraid it may have a lower TDP because I think it's really going to come down to what TDP you can actually configure all the machines at. I wouldn't be surprised if a high TDP 11800H beats the 11900H because TDP is king, it seems like these days. If it can go to a higher wattage, oftentimes it'll perform better, even if it's technically a worse part according to the specs page, you know? And that's why checking out reviews are so important these days. No internet. Why no internet? Yes, 45 watts. So Samoy, it's not really 45 watts. There's none of these none of these machines. They say they're rated for 45 watts, but it's misleading. They're not really 45 watts. They're really uh they're really like, like for example, the GP66 says it's a 45 watt processor, the 11800H, but it really goes up to like 80 watts, Like it goes up to 80 watts and then hovers down at 72 watts. And same for Ryzen processors. They'll say, oh, the Ryzen 9 5900HS is a 35 watt part. And yet when you you render something with the Zephyrus G15, you get 80 watts of performance, right? It's like it's crazy. Linus showed it in a new video, and the i9 underperforms massively in thin and light laptops. Yep, and well, that's always the case. Like the i9 11980HK will totally do that too, right? So coming up here when I get done with this game, guys, I am going to do a conclusion. I'll do an overview of the benchmark results and kind of give my thoughts overall on them. 4x, 8x, off, off, off. Okay. Will you review the Aorus 15P? Thank you for everything. I really want to review the Aorus 15P. I've requested it. I don't know if Aorus is going to send me one or not. I think it'll be a very popular laptop though this year. All right, we're going to scooch our headphone cable out of the way a little bit more. Okay, we're going to get our headshots warmed up. Let me turn the sound on this time. Oh, oh God. Oh, ah, they're coming from all the angles. You kidding me? Okay. All right, here we go. Let's see if we can win this round, huh? I doubt it. Let's find out. There's one. Oy. Top person has 3 kills already. Oh no. Oh. I can hear a little bit of left rights. Oh, taken from the side. Woo! Ah! Oh. Oh, jeez. This is 6 kills in a row. Let's go. Ah! Oh, no. Is this a silent laptop? Depends on what fan profile you set it on. If you set it on a high performance profile, you're going to have a lot of fan noise. But if you set it on a low performance, like there's a quiet mode, I'm sure the fan noise is going to be a lot more manageable, but you're going to get less performance at the same time. Whew! The person is using a pistol. Oh! I'm really excited for my Clevo. What Clevo did you get? I'm really curious. I'm really curious which what Clevo laptops are out right now. That you're interested in. They have the big thick one with a very high TDP. This person's very good. Oh no. I could tell they're good because they've killed me a couple times now, and I'm like, this person's like basically got instant aim. So why was there no black bars in Cyberpunk at 1080? So in a lot of these games, there's been no black bars whenever we switch to 1080, 16 by 9. Hey, we got bumper that time. This is like a headshot simulator. I love it. Okay, so at the end of this, I'm going to do a summary. I'm going to do a summary of the performance, just a reminder, guys, so don't head out yet. I need some health. Someone going to gift me some health? Can I get that health? Thank you. Oh. So yeah, black bars will just vary from game to game. Hey, right now we're winning. Oof. The old spray and pray SMG. Pretty sure I hear someone. Yeah, there they are. Oh, how many kills to win? Is it 30? We're leading right now, 24. I'm like focus moding this. Oy! Phil the gamer. Sorry guys, I'm focusing in the game right now, and then I'll answer some more questions in chat and do the conclusion. Whew, missed it. I got the thick X set 170 km. Nice, Britt. Do you? Is that? That's right. Did you get the 3070 the version though, right? Which made me a little sad. Lastly, thanks for providing so much value, man. I'm 42, and this is my first gaming PC, laptop, and desktop in over 20 years. Oh, cool. Well, welcome back to the PC gaming market. It's super fun. It's a good time to get into the laptop segment because it's so powerful. Like even a 3060 laptop can play almost any game in the market now with respectable settings. Oi, people everywhere. Oi, oi. I upgraded to the 3080. Oh, good. Good, Brett. Good, good, good. Did you get it in yet? Oh, I hit my scar with the mouse. I couldn't aim to the right. Did you get the 3080, the Clevo in yet? How is it? And I'm really curious what the TDP is under load. Oh no, guys, we were in the lead. They just took the lead from us. Really? Oh, it goes to 40. Okay. Oh no, we have 11 kills yet. There's 2 people ahead of me now. Oh no! Come on. We just have 10 more. Oh, we don't have Afterburner running. Let's get Afterburner running. I'm sorry, guys. We don't know what FPS we're getting even. I'm just really enjoying this game and I'm not paying attention. So sorry. It'll be here on the 2nd. Oh, nice. Why are there black bars in Valorant? Oh, that's a good point. So our video, let's see here. Video settings. Um, don't know why there's black bars. Phil? Oh, you just had to change the graphic settings. Now we don't have black bars anymore. Okay, and we're also getting our FPS averages now. So 220 FPS. It's about what we're getting in a lot of the laptops right now. And this game is really poorly optimized to take advantage of all the hardware. One kill. Oh no. GG's. Okay. Nice. Okay, so we ended up with a little over 200 FPS. Very nice overall performance in Valorant. Obviously, it's for QHD max settings, but there's almost all the laptops I'm running this thing on. We're getting only like 20 to 40% CPU and then GPU utilization, which is really annoying. And I'm just wondering if there's a way to optimize this better to be better. Okay, so let's take a look and do an overview of the results. So I'm gonna go ahead and make the results kind of full screen. Okay, so for our Timespy score, for a 3060, the Timespy score is solid, though we got more in the unboxing. CPU performance in this thing is solid. Port Royale, I don't know why it said, I got a typo there. It's 4280. It's only 4228 is what it's supposed to be. Um, And then what else? So Red Dead Redemption 2 performance, I think, is a standout performance indicator for this machine, as well as the Cyberpunk 2077 performance was truly excellent for an RTX 3060. That said, in these really high-end games, the AAA titles like Red Dead Redemption, Cyberpunk, Witcher 3, the downside is uh, it's an RTX 3060 in a QHD resolution. So if you want to play on native resolution, you're going to have to turn down the settings. Um, like in Cyberpunk, it's difficult to play RTX on Ultra, DLSS on Quality. You're going to have to reduce DLSS down to Performance or Ultra Performance or something to make it to work well enough to get high enough FPS to aim well and everything. Um, so just know that if you're going to play at native QHD resolution with this laptop, you're going to have those trade-offs to make, which aren't that bad. I think it's still very, very good and viable. But that said, it gives me hope for the 3070 and 3080 versions of this laptop that you won't have to make those trade-offs at all. Um, and for esports, all the esports games, Apex Legends, Warzone, Fortnite, um, we CS:GO, Rainbow Six Siege, we saw excellent performance in those games, easily maxing out max settings and QHD resolution to play great FPS. I guess in Apex Legends I didn't test, and in Fortnite we didn't test those on high because you always play those on low for the esports competitive settings. Same for Warzone, but really solid performance in those games. So for esports, overall, I really, really like this laptop. And even though I think the ideal pricing for this would probably be $15.99 or $14.99, there's just a lot of pros to this laptop that makes it worth this $1,700 price point if that's what it ends up retailing for. I feel like it's just the it's just a trade-off. You get a little bit less performance than a 3070 laptop with kind of a middle ground pricing between a 3060 and 3070. So yeah. Would the 3070 be the sweet spot? Well, with this curious nerd, so with this model, you're going to be able to have a high TDP 3070 and a high TDP 3080. So I feel like the 3060 or 3070 both be great performance per dollar. The 3080 version will be a little less performance per dollar, but will still be good because you have a really high TDP. Um, it's the same specs with Legion 5 Pro, right? So is it also the same? Meliodas, it's hard to say necessarily because they might be using different RAM between the 5 Pro and the 7, and I'm not sure if all of the specs are exactly the same and how they configure it might be a little different. Plus, the Legion 5 comes with different screen sizes, I believe, so it's going to depend on that, and how the laptop is designed will depend on that as well. Um, I just want the new Alienware X series review. Shadowform, me too. But the good news, Shadowform, is that Alienware has said they will send one for me. So um, I really think it's going to be good. Now, regarding the 4 vents on the Alienware X series, I think a lot of laptops have 4 vents. Like this one has 4 vents. Um, it's more about, for me, it's more about how much total heat that the laptop can actually dissipate, right? So, but the Series X certainly seemed like a solid thermal design when I looked at it. Gizmo, with all the laptops you reviewed with the 3000 series cards, are you still happy with the Scar as your main? And if so, why? Um, Byzantine, I really like the Scar, but the only downside to it is in CPU-bound games it has lower performance. So that's the only major downside to it, I think, um, because it doesn't have a mux switch or advanced Optimus, basically. But overall, I'm still pretty happy with the Scar 15. I can still recommend it, but for CPU-bound game performance, I think if you're just looking for a pure gaming machine, the uh, the 11th gen Intel I think has that advantage. So. May I review my Clevo in the Discord? Yeah, Britt. I mean, Discord's all about the discussion, man. Throw your uh, throw your review out there in the tech forum for sure. And also PM me the link. I'm really curious about it because I haven't seen any good reviews on the XM 170 or the KM that big thick Clevo. I'm really curious about it. So yeah, DM me the link to it or whatever whenever you get it done. Um, overall, I really like this Legion 7. I think it's going to be a really great laptop. And I think if I could do it over again, like buying straight from scratch, I would probably choose the Legion 7 over the Scar 15 in terms of premiumness because of the number pad. Um, And I do prefer the metal build and the 16:10 aspect ratio on the display as well. And the fact that it's a brighter nits display. And then also the fact that the 3080 in the Legion 7 has a higher TDP than the 3080 in the Scar 15. So all of those things put together makes me lean towards the Legion 7 as a higher recommendation in general. But I haven't tested the 3080 version of the Legion 7, so it's hard to make an apples to apples comparison. Um, I like, what do I think about the Omen 16-inch? Has potential. I need to actually see what it looks like and get my hands on it to give more details. Yeah. So anyway, um, that's it for this live stream. I hope you guys enjoyed it. I'll add timestamps to this whenever I get a chance. But if someone in chat or watching the VOD wants to post the comments with the timestamps, that would be super helpful. If you enjoyed this live stream, slap a like on it. I will see you guys in the next live stream. Thank you so much. Peace out, everyone. Weird dude, just go watch the VOD if you're just joining. So, peace.